Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKiernan, Phoenix Rising 86, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fibre Oats, Michael Kahn, Rob H, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Before Mars, what type of theoretical thinking is that?
What, the moon? Is that what you say? I can't hear you whispering. Is that what you're saying? The moon? Well, recent studies have shown that the moon may be actually in Earth's atmosphere, so there won't be much time dilation. And we also don't want to mess with the delicate balance of Earth by colonizing the moon because the gravity could be affected, perhaps. There you go. That's the best I can do.
That was total shit.
That was a great just
terrible.
story, man.
It
Beautiful.
was terrible. No, it's terrible. I tried. I give it a shot. I was kind of convinced of myself.
It was funny as shit, though. It was good.
Yeah. I was feeling it. I was getting into it.
Yeah.
I thought I
Yeah,
had
it's
something with the distance measurement. I thought I thought I was getting something.
Well,
But no,
It was good.
what
Go
bending
ahead.
causes, like what effect it has on time, the more you bend it or the more you straighten it out.
well, I'm not in my mode anymore, so I got to get locked back in. But I'm thinking it makes sense to them, I guess, right? If you bend it, then it'd just be like the same thing as I guess it'd be like the same thing as the 8 inches per mile squared, right? So like as on a straight path, it would be only this far, right? Because like I say, if the Earth curves at 8 inches per mile squared, then that would have a real effect on where things would land, right? So if I built a bridge in I guess I've said it before, in 10-foot sections, and then I lay them out and connect them all together, I'm going to be 8 inches short when I get to my mile mark because of the curve. I'm not going to be 8 inches short. I don't know the real number. The real number will probably be like an inch short because of that curve. But I imagine that's how they imagine space-time. Yeah. So that now it's like you're 1 second behind, or you're 5 seconds behind, or as you go a mile. Yeah. But I can't be sure.
So does
It sounds like what I'm hearing.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said it sounds like what I'm hearing described in this dialogue, that some kind of mathematical model has an effect on the physical world. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe.
Hello.
Maybe.
So
So you're saying a physical model, a mathematical model, has impact on the physical world. What is mathematics and what is a model?
Right. Yeah. So I'm only modeling the right now a straight line versus a curved line, and speed and distance, right? And then and that's really it right now.
What is a line? What is a curved line? What is that?
Right. Well, so if we have like I was saying, if we have a horizontal level line, right, that's going to be if it's 10 feet long, right, but then if I and so then it'll reach that distance at 10 feet straight, you know, and
Well,
level or whatever.
I need something a little bit more basic. I asked you, what is a line?
Or
What
basic
is
than
a
a
curved
line.
line? Yeah, what is a line?
A line, I guess, the shortest distance between 2 points.
Well, if you look it up mathematically, it means no curve. It's the kind of the opposite of a curved line,
Oh, okay.
not the distance between 2 points.
All right. Well,
So you can technically have a shorter distance with a curved line on a sphere, on a geoid, or whatever you want to call it. That line can be curved, and it'd be a shorter distance. So that doesn't necessarily work. So, but all these are mathematical constructs, mathematical or that's what that is. It's mathematics. Now, can you have a mathematical model that does not represent the real world?
Sure. I guess you could. Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so why are we talking about mathematics and models?
I don't know. You asked me for what we were talking about. I'm just talking about a straight line.
Well, right. But you kind of agreed that we're talking about mathematical models, and then I said, how does a mathematical model have impact on the physical world? But it does, and it can't.
Well, I mean, how can a mathematical model impact it? No, it can model or
have influence on.
Yeah, I don't know if the model we're modeling it. We're trying to replicate and measure what we're observing.
What's the weaknesses of models?
What's the weakness of a model?
Mm-hmm.
That it's I mean, it's your interpretation of what you're seeing.
Well, there's limits because it can't account for all the factors. It can't.
Right.
It actually says in mathematical models, it says you choose a basic representation, but it really can't represent the reality of the world fully.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, we could always. I mean, you're talking about the world. I'm saying I'm making a model of a boat or something else. I mean, it may not be that great of a replication. Yeah, so it's just a model is just like a replica.
Well, but even like a scale model, let's say if I have a small one, well, it may have some things that are correct, but I have a lot of things that are not correct because for one, it doesn't have the same weight as the real thing. Because if it's a scale model, it means it's smaller, which means the weight's off, which means it would act and work differently in different environments. So even your scale model has its flaws. So models aren't necessarily a good thing necessarily when you're trying to represent the physical world.
Well, I don't have any other way of modeling, or what else would you do besides either use the real world or you make a model? What else can you do?
Well, you can use the real world because that's the real world, not a mathematical model.
Yeah, but I can't hold the world in my
real
hand.
world. You can't. Oh, right, you can't. No, I can't. I can't either. So just deal with the world as it's presented to you.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you try it, but I mean, it's sometimes easier to conceptualize things when you can see them from every part of something. You know, if I can see the front of the boat, and I'm wondering why my boat keeps on like dragging in the back, and I got to keep running, down to that end and seeing what the hell's going on, and then go run back down there, and but it'd be easier if I had a model in my hand to say, oh, that shit. No wonder I got a bunch of broken boards in the back, sinking. I didn't build it with.
Just start playing with the weight until you find one where your boat's not dragging in the back.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, but I don't know it until you can see. You want to zoom out. You want to zoom out and see what's going on with something. You do it with anything. I mean, that's what we want to be able to see.
My wife does models all the time. She does kitchen design, and so many times that whatever she represents doesn't always match when it gets out and practically put it in the building. Many times. She calls it a fudge factor. There's always a fudge factor. She has to even work into her so-called model. So models they can have some level, give you some level of insight, but it will never be complete. Never. They can't.
No, I mean, I agree. I'm not disagreeing at all. But I mean, I can't think of what else you could do. Is all I'm saying. What else could you do besides model something?
Just deal with the world as it's presented to you.
Yeah, but you're trying to understand it.
He's a model and just looking.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to understand it. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Why all these abstract? I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. You're jumping back to why are we come up up with these fake abstract physics. I don't know why exactly, but to make their model work, right? But that's a different problem than just the problem of modeling or something.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, 10th Man, Chocolate Saiyan, Arwin, Brian's Logic, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, hello.
Yo, what's up?
Sky.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Good to have you all.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. Pleased to be here, I'm sure.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to be here for like a half hour.
Yeah, I was late. We went to Lego Discovery and had fun there. So, hence me being late, but no big deal. Let's get on with it with a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No, it only exists in the maths.
If you imagine it, then it exists in your mind. If you reify the horizon into the leading edge of a sphere, it exists in a fallacy.
But why would you do that, though? Like, what would naturally incline you to start doing that?
You have to pre-assume you live on the ball.
If you were told
Would
a
that
cool
come
story when you were a kid.
Yeah, but
that's all you were ever taught as a kid, so you didn't know to think any different.
all right, but you were told by somebody else, right? But who would like start talking about it and basically start suggesting it, and why? When there is no natural suggestion to do that.
Teachers in primary school and high school, and then they forget about it for the rest of your life, and then before you know it, you're 40 and you're questioning the shape of the Earth.
Right, but I'm talking about who actually came up with it. Or, yeah, we don't really know, of course.
Well,
We
the
got a
national
lot of
curriculum, innit?
mythological figures presented as who supposedly discovered it. But how would you come up with it and why, right? When everything is optically very naturally flat, right? So why would somebody then come up with, hey, what if you think about it like a ball? Why? What would be the motivation behind that?
What if you were under the assumption that the sphere is the perfect shape?
It depends.
And because the Earth is so perfect, and God would create something so perfect, so why wouldn't He make it in the perfect shape of the sphere?
Right, that's actually a really good answer. Idealism, yeah, it could.
That's Pythagoras.
Yeah. No,
There's another two.
right.
There's another two that would explain it too. Well, one you could call education, so that we're all taught the same thing. However right or wrong it might be, at least we all get a standardized education. Or you could call it indoctrination, because we all get taught a falsehood.
Can you turn the gain down on your mic? You sound horrendous.
I'm on my phone.
That's
Just
just
back
his
off the
normal
mic a
voice.
couple of inches then. You just sound horrendous. Just 2 inches away would be better. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Hell no.
No.
Yeah, the stars, Nathan, the rotating stars, they prove globe.
Maybe 4 inches.
That was great.
The stars, what turn of the Earth causing the stars to drift at 15 degrees an hour? You're going to need an R value to assert the radius of Earth is causing that phenomena.
Yeah, we'll completely ignore the fact that the stars still turn once we leave the frame of reference that we're supposed to be rotating from, because when we do that, it's supposed to stop.
No, what I mean is, if you look up at the stars and see the apparent motion, I'll agree with you. But regardless of the assertions that could come from the globe side, that would be Coriolis drift in your debunking that's preemptive. What I'm saying is, if you're going to assert that that's Earth causing that at all, you need a rate to give in order to give the rotational value, and that's the R value. Yeah? You're going to give it in radians. So therefore, you're going to need an R value.
I wanted to also add something. If you're going to presuppose that it is the Earth spinning underneath those stars, well, then if you'd go up really high with a floaty balloon and you'd keep it up there somehow with extra weights, designated height, well, then the stars would effectively be standing still all the time while the Earth is spinning underneath that balloon, right? There
Sure,
would have
but
to be some point at some height where the stars are then going to stand still. Do they?
I agree with the argument. The only issue I have with that
Right
argument
off the
is
ground.
it's the assertion that, okay, a drone goes up and films the stars, and because there's a claim that it's the Earth turning that causes that effect, there's therefore a further implication that if you hover with a drone, the stars should stop moving, right? And yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, okay. But which is going to be more obvious to you if you're the drone pilot? So you put your drone on the ground, you launch it up, and you continue to rotate on a turning Earth as your drone hovers. In other words, you're moving away from the position of the drone at the rate that the Earth spins beneath the drone, according to the claim of Coriolis effect. Now, from your vantage point, it looks like it curves upwards as you push the up stick. So the drone goes in a straight path up, you've only pushed the up stick, but from your vantage point, according to the claim of Coriolis drift, you'll see it curve up and away from you at the rate that you're spinning away from it in order to have the stars stationary in the drone's imagery, if there's a camera pointing up, right? Well, that means that which of the two things you're going to notice? The fact that your drone's whizzing away from you at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, or that when you get the footage back after chasing the damn thing down, by the way, this doesn't ever happen, clearly, which is going to be more troublesome.
You just
Nathan,
have to
you
wait
don't-
24 hours and it'll be right back where you're at.
Nathan, you don't understand. Well, that wouldn't be true, Alan, would it? Because the Earth would have moved around the orbit around the Sun, so it would be it would be relative to the Earth. It would be in the same position, but the Earth relative to its orbit around the Sun, it would be physically in a different position. So that it would appear to be 1/365th of the orbits around the Sun away from where you were. So it's probably, I don't know, if you set off in London, it would probably be in, I don't know, Southampton or something, because that's the distance that would have been moved around the Sun.
What's now happening
Anyway,
is his phone's got a compressor on it, and it's trying to compensate for how horrendously loud it is. So it's going super quiet and then super loud. That's not me, by the way. Anybody wondering why Anthony's voice sounds like that? That's all him.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's like, what the
Anthony.
hell?
Anthony, make it 10 inches.
Why not 12? Just whisper.
12.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
It's over there.
Nathan, I want to go back to that Coriolis point because you don't understand what Coriolis is, Nathan. When the drone takes off, it doesn't instantly lose all of the momentum of the Earth that you're implying at 1,000 miles an hour. It still preserves that, Nathan. You don't understand Coriolis.
What's that got to do with Coriolis effect? What you've just described has absolutely nothing to do with Coriolis effect.
Right, and how would it retain
Sounds like
momentum?
Earth.
How would
Hold
it
on.
even
Owen's
do that
bitten.
in the air?
Owen's bitten and
I'm
completely
just pointing out
undermined
that it
my...
doesn't instantly lose the 1,000 miles an hour speed, the
Let's
momentum
try that
of the
again
Earth. just
without Owen ruining my complete annihilation of Anthony's point. Let's try that once more.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Coriolis effect is only observable as you rotate beneath things. So therefore, to observe Coriolis effect in anything ever, I have to be the one describing what I see as I rotate beneath things. Now, you've launched into telling me what the drone does. Well, that's got sod all to do with Coriolis effect. It can do anything it likes, so long as I rotate beneath it to see Coriolis drift.
Yeah, that okie doke don't work anymore.
It's the only way to even have a debate about Coriolis. You have to have one side that basically ignores what it is and starts imagining how it's actual movement.
Right.
And that's how you get a debate.
Yeah. So the flat earthers end up arguing on behalf of the globe believers about what they should be claiming if they believe they're on a globe earth that spins. And once you've got that established, which could take an hour, then you might get them to concede that they think there's 15 degrees an hour drift as Earth turns beneath things for you to see Coriolis effect. And then you debunk it by pointing out, if we're turning beneath a drone, it would away 1,000 miles an hour for you to see it seem to curve away from you.
And then they'll just commit heresy.
Anthony's going to destroy this live show. I can just tell already.
Yeah, or they could just cut off a little. Sorry, man.
It's okay. Try it once more, John.
I said, and then they'll commit heresy.
Yeah, they'll deny the very premise that the globe's claiming. Globe claims Coriolis effect, and Anthony's argument is essentially something that has sod all to do with Coriolis effect. And in fact, the premise that he's based his argument on, which is not Coriolis effect, defies Coriolis effect. Because if the drone's retaining velocity of the ground beneath it, it's not drifting from the guy's vantage point on the ground beneath it that's supposed to be turning as it drifts away. That's the effect you describe when you detail Coriolis effect. It drifting away from your vantage point as you turn beneath it. So Anthony's saying, well, it wouldn't do that. So it wouldn't have the globe claim a Coriolis effect then, Anthony.
That's the okie doke we ran around with for a long time. That's over now.
Anthony and I did this recently. I don't know if I'm throwing her under the bus by saying this, but with Rachie, 00000, YouTuber, subscribe today. So I don't know why I was just doing whatever I do, and Anthony gets me on Skype and starts talking about Coriolis effect with me. I'm like, okay. And it's like, can I introduce Rachie to this conversation? Because I really wanted to. I'm like, yeah, whatever, fine. So then I get Rachie telling me about how conservation of angular momentum is something that I need to be concerned about and I'm not representing the argument correctly and things like this. I'm like, no, I'm not. I do understand this stuff. I assure you. They're just telling you should believe in something that isn't the globe's claim of Coriolis effect at 15 degrees an hour. These heretics are teaching you there on their own alone, not in line with the globe claim, Globiolis effect, and telling you should be arguing against that. Makes their life a damn sight easier. But Anthony made me have that conversation with Rachie for some reason. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure she'd have figured that out by herself. She's not exactly stupid.
Right. All we have to basically explain to them is that they don't really understand.
Well, they don't.
Well, if you take what they would say as Globiolis or heresy, then there's no drift. Right? So then you go against the very claim you want to prove, but you can't. So you go against it and you become a heretic.
Did we actually get an answer for the distance to the sun? We seem to have gone back onto Coriolis deflection and axial rotation of the Earth-based variety. Maybe I can just ask for R, as that was covered. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Anybody at all? Earth radius. Anybody at all? Anybody? Anybody?
Derived from a flat plane.
You guys in Discord were getting quite chatty about your models and such. We're talking about the premise for that model of a sphere, R value. That's what it's all based on.
Well, it's mathematical, so they don't got it.
Well, that's kind of what I brought it up for, because that's what they were talking about in the pre-show. About maths and models and reification, in essence. But now we're actually asking for the brass tacks of their model reification, which is the R value. If Earth's going to be a sphere in your claim, then it needs an R value to presuppose that it's a sphere.
Wasn't the guy also talking about time, a concept, as a causal force?
I don't think he was necessarily claiming it. He may have just been repeating back claims he'd heard about it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Time, a causal, and a force? What?
Well, if you're going to go into force space, it has to be
Force space. Oh.
Okay, as we're on the subject, it seems like what I asked for gets the answer to a different housekeeping question today. We're in crazy 4D space-time land. Any evidence or scientific evidence of gravity?
No evidence of the molten iron core.
What? That took me a couple of seconds to process. What?
Good one, Chocolate. Good one, Chocolate.
Normally I can
Chocolate's
ask one of these
jumping
housekeeping
around.
questions, then go into autopilot, thinking about what I'm going to do or how I'm going to respond to what's coming. Doesn't normally take a few. You've moved the cogs in my gearing, Chocolate. That's not fair.
Cling.
Yeah, springs are going everywhere.
You're the one who said somehow we're ending up in other questions after asking one question. So you asked about gravity. Yeah, no, definitely no evidence of the molten iron core. Thanks.
Especially after your morning with the kids, just let go, Nathan.
All right, I've realigned my cogs now. Yeah, okay, fine. So what you're saying is the gravitational accretion claimed in the Narnia land, the story of Narnia land called Space, has Theia smashing into Earth and the debris forming the moon with gravitational accretion. Therefore, the molten iron core, which is oversized because of that deposit of Theia's molten iron core when it hit Earth at a glancing blow and then formed the moon through gravitational accretion, would be your scientific evidence of gravity by my standards. And therefore, this isn't a syntax error. Right, Alwyn? So, no, that's not scientific evidence of gravity, Chocolate. How dare you? What's the hypothesis for that Theia story that I assume you're meaning, rather than throwing me off completely with a nonsensical answer to a question about gravity?
The only evidence for the R value is mathematical. But can that be considered?
Stop! Everyone
evidence?
stop! You're all trying to do this deliberately now. You're all just having fun with me. Right? Scientific evidence of gravity is the question on the table. Okay?
Okay, no.
So not 93 million miles then. Fine, let's move on. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
A lot of chatter, but nothing viable.
Not anytime soon.
Can the guys in the live stream chat Sorry, just one sec. Just the guys in the live stream chat, if you can let me know if everyone's all roughly the same volume, i.e. me versus G+, because of Anthony coming in, I've just fiddled with a load of settings to try and quickly solve the problem. So I don't know if I've messed things up and balanced things, but until I listen to it later on, which I can't do now. But just let me know in the chat if everyone seems roughly the same volume. That'd be really appreciated. What were you going to say, Arwin? I'm sorry to interrupt you with a technical thing.
Oh, no, I just said not anytime soon.
Oh, for viable hypotheses.
I was going to say, what about if anybody, like one of those people that used to tell us all the time that we have all the science for the globe? I mean, if any of those people are in here, then maybe they can give us a viable hypothesis.
Ah, those were the days with the pink writing.
You know, I reminisce sometimes.
Chocolate, aren't those the same people now say that science doesn't prove things?
See, I was gonna say that, but I was hoping that maybe one of them was still like of the old and busted clan that used to tell us that and called us science deniers. So I'm hoping one of them could tell us all about at least one viable hypothesis for one of their bullshit claims. They can't all be running around saying science doesn't prove things, right? Because then why were they talking about science in the first place?
But they do.
That's weird.
It is weird because we're in La La Land with them, and we've only recently realised this. So why is it that the adaptation of that claim comes our way and then fades away, never to be repeated again? Right? Why aren't we called science deniers here? We've got opponents. There's plenty of them. They're racking up all the views in YouTube, right? They're the ones being recommended. No, they're just as much a subset of normie society as we are. They just haven't realised it yet, and I'm here to point it out to them. So why is it that they can have this argument? Well, so that the normies who do believe in the globe, unlike you anti-flat earthers who deny most of it, right, can still go around calling us science deniers. Because they do. If you go and watch normie mainstream YouTube, and they happen to mention us, they'll talk of us like science deniers, and they'll even say it. Because they can get away with it, can't they? Because they haven't spent any time around us to have their arse ripped through their throat when they actually claim that they've got science for the globe, which you haven't, right? So you've adapted and started saying science doesn't prove here. That's what you do, because you're anti-flat earthers. You're not really globe believers, which makes you just as dangerous to normie society as us. Hence, you're put into a nice little subset of the internet, just next door to us, over in some dark corner where you can't affect the people who actually think we're denying science, rather than appreciate there isn't any for the globe, like you do, because we tell you.
Well, you know what the number one thing that people that deny science say is?
I don't, actually. You'll have to tell us.
Science doesn't prove anything.
That's all it does. Its only purpose is to empirically prove, one way or the other, if something you have proposed causes a phenomenon you're observing, causes it or not. Oh, what causes that? Well, I think it's this. Well, is it this or isn't it? Well, let's do an experiment. Oh, it wasn't that. Oh, we've proven it wasn't that. Or, it was that. So we've proven it was this. You know, that's all you can get at the end of an experiment. Proof one way or the other.
And if you're a science denier, you'll just say, well, that didn't prove anything.
You'll say what?
You'll say that didn't prove anything, even though it proved something.
No. You'll say it disproves something.
Yeah, but you
Science doesn't prove, it
you
disproves.
automatically prove something if you disprove something.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you disprove something, you're automatically proving something else. Sorry. Just how that goes.
You
That's why
vary
you gotta
A
know.
and see if it causes B. And if you vary A and it does not cause B, then you've proved that wasn't it. So it wasn't that then. Proof positive that that wasn't the cause. You know what I mean? Moving on. And I know Chocolate's already half-heartedly addressed this, but is there, in all seriousness, because it is a very serious topic, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Well, what's gravity?
Where's my tumbleweed? Where's my tumbleweed sound effect? Come on, somebody's got to be able to claim a molten iron core. It's 12 of you in Discord.
Maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe we should ask, does anybody believe in the self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of the presupposed spherical Earth?
No one's gonna touch that hot tamale at the moment.
The problem with asking them if they believe, as I've just segregated them out into a subset of anti-flat Earth versus flat Earth in the same dark corner of the internet, right? They're only in that dark corner because they don't believe. They're coming up with all sorts of new things. They're basically Arwin, just without realising it. The arrogance level's off the charts, whereas Arwin recognises that, you know, hopefully if he can come up with enough heliocentric nonsense, he can slip it into the rhetoric. Cool. I'll be part of the story. It's just a story, and it's flowing. So why can't I toss a rock into the pond, disturb the flow, and have it become part of the flow? There's no reason why not. Well, the anti-flat earthers are also doing that, but they kid themselves that they're actually preaching the globe rhetoric. Oh, well, this is the globe belief that things don't drift at all. You'll never see any. No, it isn't. The globe claims 15 degrees now. You just don't believe. So while you're saying we want to find out if anybody believes in the molten iron core, nobody that's here in this little dark corner of the internet segregated away from normie society. That's us and you, Dan, and Katz, and Ruhif. You're all here in hell with us. Of course, I don't see it as hell, you do. But kept away from normie society, they're never going to claim they believe in the molten iron core. Why would they? But normies do. They don't know any better.
The problem with the molten iron core is regular normie people think that volcanoes are caused by the molten iron core. So nobody even has a proper understanding.
Well, you know what the anti-flat earthers on this remind me of is the story of the during the Black Plague of the priests who would flatulate themselves as they walked around thinking that God was mad at them and that's why the plague existed. So they'd beat themselves with whips, sort of like the anti-flat earthers in this discussion. It's a heretical group.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a heretical group that just beat the crap out of themselves for the globe.
Got a term.
And their 2022 version of beating themselves with a whip is listening to people they cannot stand, even though they partly agree with because they don't believe the same shit that apparently we don't believe because they try to argue the opposite of what their actual narrative claims. So that must be some type of hell. It's interesting.
Called self-flagellation. Still practiced to this day by monks. Tibetan monks will get these, like, I don't know how you describe them. They've got like little barbs in them, I think. And they're just basically a little short whip, maybe 3 foot long. They just sit there all day smacking their own back with it. Self-flagellation.
That sounds painful, Nathan.
Well, the point of it being heretical is that the Catholic Church or Christianity didn't, either one of them didn't accept that as a methodology, or a tenet. These priests picked it up as a way of trying to appease God. So that's sort of like what the anti-flat earthers are doing.
But not just sort of, exactly what they're doing. Not only that, you've just drawn a parallel that I hadn't realised before, that if Anthony was still around, he's obviously got offended that I've taken the piss out of his mic 3 times and suggested that he'd ruin the show. But he's disappeared. But there's a parallel that I think he'd enjoy as well, which is to say that when we say that they're heretics, well, that line doesn't end at the globe, does it? Because while we can talk about the ultimate origins of the sphere Earth being a flat Earth angle measurement, who was the one holding the protractor and writing it down and disseminating it to the public? Was it atheists? Was it atheists that came up with this heliocentric model? Anybody at all?
No, the Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church. So when you anti-flat earthers arrive here to tell us all about your on your own, singular, alone, away from the Western world belief in heliocentrism and the sphere Earth and all the beliefs that you need to have to call yourself a ball believer, which you're not, yeah, when you get here, you actually need to be told how to believe correctly in the church's globe, which you don't. Heretics. Because that's who gave it you. It's the church that gave it you. Not necessarily the church that any of us believe in, or the church that any necessarily Christians or who would call themselves Christians would believe in. But the church, nonetheless, have come up with this belief structure that you guys on the anti-flat earth side deny. Heretics. And you need to get back in line with what the church told you to believe in. None of this Earth moving with atmosphere, no drift to sea. The church has made it clear that you've got 15 degrees and out of drift as the sphere Earth they made up turns beneath your feet. Okay, so you need to understand and believe in what the church has told you to. Let's get that straight, heretics. It's a great day.
They even gave them their origins. Didn't their little Big Bang come from a Jesuit priest named George Lanet?
The Maitre. If you want to see the full history, somebody commented on one of the interviews I did too with Johnny Cerrucci and just went through the full history of heliocentrism from church to modern day times. Well, there's no real disconnect in those two things, but nevertheless, he goes through the full history on 2 separate shows. One was several hours long. And like I say, I only remembered because somebody came along and said, hey, I never knew you went through this. And it's like, yeah, prior to the debate, I did the whole journey through Flat Earth, finding out where it all came from, stumbling along all the other conspiracies that everybody else on this panel's done also. I'm not saying Johnny Cerrucci was conspiratorial in any way. It was incredibly well researched, in fact. Astonishingly well researched. Check him out, actually, if you want to extend your knowledge of how this lie about the globe came to pass from the church. And like 10th Man, Johnny Cerrucci would call himself a Christian. He just wouldn't kowtow to that church in any way, shape or form. Quite the contrary. But yeah, checking out Johnny Cerrucci's interview with me on, I think I called it Flat Earth UK with Johnny Cerrucci or something to that effect. But it just lays out the full history of it. The closest person that I know that has gone through that on other shows is Adam, and 10th has just got good knowledge of it as well. But certainly Adam's gone through that history on various different shows that he's done and interviews that he's done, because he's also very well versed in it, far more than I. And like I say, no more than 10th man, who also has got an exemplary knowledge on this stuff, how the history's come to pass. It's just a shame that there's that evil overlap with Christianity and, in quotes, the church. And it isn't quite like that. It's too condensed. I can't get it condensed enough to just disseminate that now right in the middle of housekeeping. Although, did we finish housekeeping? I'm so confused with what we covered, thanks to the panel.
Man, it sounds like y'all were covering my favorite subject.
Yeah,
I was just talking about that elsewhere, about the church coming up with this heliocentric model and then pretending that, no, it wasn't me, bro. Even though all of my influence is still around today, when in Rome, right?
That New York correspondent Eli, high over the skies of New York in Chopper 5.
That was air pressure without a container, what he was demonstrating this thing.
The gradient. What about the gradient?
What about it? Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
There's a gradient, Nathan, that shows that you don't need containment.
No,
Gradient requires a container.
Yeah, gradient is a gas pressure gradient. Still need containment.
Shout out to Chaiki at Freeze.
But the air is
Yeah, it's been
thinner
a
up at
long
Mount
time.
Everest.
Wonder what they're doing.
Yeah, it's called entropy.
Shout out Retracted.
It's just address Neil. Yeah, gas is thinner when you go up to the top of Everest. Gas is created at ground level and there's very little vegetation up on Everest. There's still air there because it's made its way from ground level, where it's produced with all of the life and vegetation that produces it, and then it disperses upwards, so there's still some up on Everest. And some people even go up there without any oxygen tanks and can still breathe because there's enough air to do so. But that's only because it's made its way up. Of course, that obviously flies in the face of the assertion that gas go down, go boom, boom. With buoyancy, it doesn't. But yeah, that's an entropic effect.
That's the thing that interests me. It's like, how could we have the hydrological cycle? That's what it's called, right? And obviously, that's all of the elements that have to do with our weather and whatnot going up there. And it's like, fam, like, if you thought that gas was mass attracting mass, like that right there alone should have handled that for you.
You get taught this really young. My memory of being taught about the hydrological cycle was that it was much later in my schooling than it actually is. So my 5-year-old has got it, and now I coincidentally had already told her about it, and she had a good grasp of it when it was presented to her the other day. You know, she saw it in the workbook and knew what it was without me having to read anything. But what occurred to me was that it was in the workbook at all. I'm like, okay, so this is what they tell you about gases going up really early. So you get a good comprehension of it, but you don't necessarily have the contradiction presented till later on when they teach you about science and the scientific method, which will come later. So the observable and obvious is still taught to you, but just at an early enough age that you don't give it any consideration when the contradiction occurs later on in your education. Very interesting, I thought. Maybe you don't agree.
No, interesting indeed.
It's a fine line.
It's a very vague memory to me as well. I was like, oh yeah, something about acid rain or something, and they said something about the ozone layer or something, you know.
Well, by that I just mean I don't want to become a baby boy talking about my kids. But by the same token, when things like that happen, I do link it back to what we talk about on the show and how we're educated and in what order, I think is quite important. And, you know, we've got syllabus levels and grade levels, and what you're going to be taught at what age is very carefully considered, isn't it?
Yeah. And I wonder why more people don't question the method for how all of this information is given to our children. It's like, well, it exists, and it is what it is. I knew when I went to school, it wasn't all flowers and roses, and and now that my kid's in school, just like with my parents, I don't know a damn thing that's in this workbook because everything's changed. Like, and I asked my mom, who was an educator. I said, "Mom, like, what about the board of education? Like, did you ever like vote to get someone in?" She's like, "I didn't even know that was a thing." And I'm like, "Fam, that's crazy that we're not involved in the process as much as we should be."
Yep. I think we covered
That's
all
probably
housekeeping
why
questions.
the process was so effective, because we're not involved in it.
Is it that the process isn't effective, or that they want you to believe the process isn't effective so you don't involve yourself in the process?
No, I think what Chuck said, that's why the process is so effective, because we're not involved with it.
Well, here in the States, the parents are at school board meetings wanting to change the process because they see how bad it is. And now the parents are called terrorists. And the children, according to these people who are set against the parents, say, when your kids are at school, there's a child of the state, no longer yours. Don't tell us what to teach them. This is the fight going on. So, yeah, we're seeing what they've done. They've kept everybody busy, whether with materialism or other concerns, and everyone has the best thoughts of others going forward. At least good people do. School's going to teach them math, English, history, stuff like that. And you come to find out they're doing a lot more than that. And so you come up to say, hey, that's not why I'm sending my kid to the school. Leave that stuff to the parents and just teach the basics. And the school boards and teachers say, they're not your kids. They're our kids. This is where we're at.
Remember a while back when I
somebody-
talked about getting some feedback from somebody in Discord.
Sorry.
That's all right. There was a comparison made by another YouTuber in terms of what prison was like, and it was described as being high school rules with life and death consequences. Well, that parallel between school and prison works both ways. So just for size, I tried it on another homeschooling parent, and I was like, I gave them the parallel and just to see what their reaction was, and they just immediately instinctively agreed with me. But yeah, when you think that description does hold a lot of weight, because you're like, yeah, if you've been to jail, I haven't. The high school mentality being described, it's like, well, okay, doesn't that just mean that that's prison mentality then? So school has prison mentality.
Well, it's interesting. The joke amongst any circle of friends, or any ecosystem of friends. Can I say that? Ecosystem of friends?
Yeah.
Don't stop me now. But every time it develops, it's like, especially with the advent of Facebook and social media, you got these groups that get together online, and then they decide, wow, we live really close, we should all hang out. And then there's 50 people that come out to hang out, and then it becomes this big, beautiful thing. Everyone hangs out there. Everyone loves each other. Some people hook up. Some people become really good friends. And then you start to see the cattiness. You start to see people bickering and gossiping. You get to see people sectioning off. You have this group of friends within that group of friends over here, some over there, some people that are neutral, like myself, some people that don't like that. And every time humans get together in a group, it's because it's not just me who describes it like that. Even the people who are doing people wrong, they all say, oh, everyone's acting so high school. Because that's exactly what it is. So to me, it's like, why do we keep thinking incorrectly? Maybe that's where we need to look for the answers to how we're able to be so fooled for this long.
Wow.
The common denominator going on. I think it's a psychological thing, and I think they got us beat in spades.
I'm going to read out a couple of super chats. So, shout out to Rinsler, who says the background images are really well picked. They highlight the contradictions in the official narrative, like the clown. He's talking about Craig, for instance, who says, "What bulge?" Yeah, the reason they're well picked is because they're all thumbnails prior to the text going on them for the most part. So whenever I've made a video, this one is another example. Simon Dan defending the Black Swan with Refraction. This made up part of the thumbnail for that video, just without whatever the title of the video was over the top of this. So yeah, Simon Dan's face because he's claimed this. Bent horizon, 2 horizons, one with a straight line to it, not the one you see that they need if they're going to claim anything about celestial navigation. The second horizon, the one that they're claiming we do see that destroys their geometry in the rebuttal. Like I say, this is just from a thumbnail. But yeah, I'm glad you've said that because there's like a lot of work. It takes a couple of days to put together one of the slideshows because it's, you know, a hell of a lot of imagery and they just rattle on past and yeah, 2 hours of them. Anyway, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, Rinsler. Really do appreciate it. And, oh no, the one's already gone from Retro Bill. A hovering bullet would exhibit no Coriolis effect whatsoever, but once shot from a rifle, that same bullet becomes a banana. Okay, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, Retro Bill.
You know, on the refraction thing, Ruhef has got in contact with me about wanting to do a debate that I offered a month ago. And like he's trying to debate me in the comments, and he says that there's a correction for refraction in the instrument. And I asked him what he was correcting to, and he didn't answer me.
Yeah, that's because we all know what, don't we? How's that geometric horizon working out for you, Rufy? Why wouldn't you answer him? Just tell him, just say geometric horizon. Why didn't you say that? I mean, that's what you wrote down and sent to me and Adam, and we all had a good laugh about it. Seems weird that you'd be so hesitant to tell John. Yeah, we know exactly what he's correcting from. That would be the physical leading edge of a sphere formerly known as Earth curve, with a straight line to it. Right, Rufy?
Well, another interesting thing is he can't wrap his head around the fact that a straight line can't be tangent to a circle at 3 points. That's impossible. And in the celestial sphere model, you have the angle at your foot, at ground level, and then you have the horizon on both sides of that angle, So you can't hold a geometric horizon and the angle, and it's a tricky spot they're in.
It certainly is. And how beautiful in terms of the timing that we have the Black Swan to laugh at them when they claim a straight line to a tangent point. Yeah, it's just a shame that we had Black Swan in 2 years after telling us that line's been bent, refracted. Never gonna have a straight line. What is it? No Atmo Day?
Well, see, you can't even get to that in the celestial sphere because the angle is coming from the ground. The horizon should be at your feet.
Right, it's the baseline. 90 degrees with you and your zenith, 90 degrees at the point that the star is above on the ground. What's between those two 90 degrees? Well, it can only be one thing. It's a straight, flat baseline. That's how it's done.
Yeah, and then to add insult to injury, where they want to claim the point of tangency at their feet, there's a horizon in the celestial sphere model. So they're trying to claim in a circle, if you're using a 2D view of it, that there's 3 points of tangency with a straight line.
Yeah, and your horizon then will be 5,400 nautical miles away from you when it's at zero.
No, sorry. 3 points of tangency to a straight line. No. A straight line can be called a tangent if it meets the top edge of a sphere. That makes it a tangent line to a sphere. That's what a tangent is. But,
tangent plane.
You can bisect.
What he's just said is
bisect the sphere at 2 points of tangency with a line. You can't do it.
I don't think. I think there's something that pops up in my mind because there's something that I don't get. Okay, if they have a tangent to the sphere, then how could the plane be under their feet? I don't get it.
It can't. It's a contradiction in terms. But when you
right,
describe...
so when Brian said what he said, and you guys said what you said, I thought of it as two different things, but we often talk about it like they try to do this, like they try to do both things together, and it's like,
yes,
well, you either have
I understand,
a horizon
and they have a response.
or you don't.
Yes, I understand, and they have a response to that. When they draw out the tangent line to the presupposed sphere in Muppet vision, they would say that the line that you're drawing along, that you're navigating along, which is going to be a straight line, it can't not be, has nothing to do with the ground. Well, what they mean by that is it's nothing to do with the sphere Earth that they assume that's got a curved ground moving away from them 8 inches per mile squared, because it can't be. So they literally will tell you in that circumstance, Eli, the ground has nothing to do with this when you're actually navigating the ground. But again, I see that as them conceding that they've failed because the sphere Earth ground has nothing to do with this. Yes, because it's not a sphere ground. We're working off the surface, though. We're doing navigation.
Well, at that point,
they're using a flat plane, Eli.
Well, they've also thrown away that when they say that it has nothing to do with the ground, they're throwing away a geometric horizon because in the celestial sphere model, there is
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they threw that away 2 years ago.
They're using a flat plane. When they use the tangent plane, they're using a flat plane. And that tangent plane, as Ruhif admitted to me, can be any length that they need it to be. Now, if you're using the celestial sphere model, from your position, if you see a star go from 90 to 0, that means that that tangent plane out in front of you is stretched 5,400 nautical miles. And they want you to believe then it's after this point, because that's where your horizon actually is at that point. And it's after this point, this 5,400 nautical mile flat point, that things start to curve. That's what they start to claim after that. And they start going into minus degrees. A star is going at.
A tangent plane doesn't, mathematically, it doesn't have well, in any sense, it doesn't have a horizon. Like it, I don't, because the angle is, the angle is from your feet. No, the angle is from your feet. Like, so when they're doing this mathematically, in the celestial sphere, there is no horizon. There is
no horizon. There is no horizon. The horizon is a horizontal, is a function of...
Hold on, Brian. Hold on, Brian. Can you mute just while he corrects you? Thanks, Eli. Thank you.
The horizon is a visual function of the horizontal, Eli. There is no globe or geometric horizon. There isn't one of those. But there is a real horizon, which is a visual effect. That's a function of horizontal view. That's what your horizon is.
No, that's true. Duh. In the celestial sphere model, there is no horizon. In reality, there is a horizon. I know that.
Yeah, but the celestial sphere model is in orthographic view, not perspective view.
That's correct.
It's a diagram format.
Yeah, but John covered this. But John covered this. Hold on, just one sec. John covered it earlier. What you're talking about when you line up with the horizon and you use the tool and you're in the celestial sphere model, you're talking about the ground. That's what you're achieving, a horizontal plane to do all of this on. Now, the fact that you use the horizon to achieve that just means that you're referencing the baseline, like our argument states. So, yeah, you are right. In the strictest sense of the word, if you're drawing a Muppet Vision representation, it has no horizon. It does for the sphere Earth because they draw a tangent line to a sphere Earth edge with no perspective. But in any other orthographic view, you're not going to have a horizon, unless it's some 3D rendered model that puts one in artificially. But in 2D orthographic view, there is no horizon. Eli's right.
Could I just correct something else that Ruhif said to John? Ruhif said to John, right, I'll have to go to somewhere quieter. Ruhif said to John that the instrument, there is a function within the instrument, which would be the sextant, that corrects for refraction, right? Now, only thing he could be talking about is the micrometer, right? Something like that. Simply because what Ruhiff is doing, I read the comment John put into Master B or one of the Skype groups, and Ruhiff is equivocating between actual celestial refraction that happens when a celestial body is below 15 degrees. You have to then account for the refractive element because it's going into the horizontal, the denser air and the horizontal, right? That makes it a lot more difficult to pinpoint where it actually is within that 15 degrees.
Hold on, I just want to get something clear. Fine-tuning the angle that you measure, that isn't an account for refraction. You can take what you fine-tuned with an angle measuring device and then say you've made an account with the fine-tuning that you've done. But that's just an angle measuring device. It's got no account for refraction. What are you talking about? What's he talking about?
That's what Ruhiff is trying to claim. He's trying to claim. Now, he's not stating what part. He's trying to claim that there's an accounting for refraction within the. It's actually worse than that, right? Just let me finish what I'm saying first, right? And I'll go back to that part, and I'll really make it really bad for him. He's equivocating, first of all, with refraction between celestial refraction, which is when the stars or sun or whatever goes below 15 degrees for the observer, right? So below 15 degrees above the horizon. Between that and the dip correction, which is a mathematical 7/6 or correction. So when Ruhiff is talking about there's a correction within the instrument for refraction, he's also talking about turning an obtuse angle into a right angle triangle.
Okay. Can I just, just one second, Brian, because I think at this stage there is something that needs to be added, because John was discussing this with Ruhiff directly recently, and he got to this stage where he was asking what he was correcting from. Did you not, John? And you got the answer, didn't you, John?
No, I never got the answer.
And maybe you can let us know in the comments.
But that's what I'm trying to clear up. Ruhiff is begging the question, when someone's on the deck of a boat, right? Listen to what I'm saying now. This is what's going on here. When you're standing on the deck of a boat with a sextant and you have an obtuse angle because you have a line from the sextant down to the horizon and then another one up to the celestial body, that has to be corrected from obtuse to a right angle triangle, right? For your elevation angle to be correct.
Oh, sorry. Just one sec.
Please don't stop.
Well, it's because I'm confused. You say from an obtuse angle? Well, why would it be obtuse? Where's that coming from?
The obtuse angle is because you're standing on the deck of the boat. That's what I'm trying to get to. But
No,
he's
for
trying to
Ruhiff.
equivocate.
No.
Hang on.
Ruhiff's got an obtuse angle to something, though, hasn't he? He's correcting from something else.
But that's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to get to, Nathan.
My bad. I'm stealing your thunder. I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
Yeah. Ruhiff is begging the question that when you have an obtuse angle, because your horizon mirror is pointed towards the horizon, which is lower than your eye line, and the index mirror has light coming in from a star that's up above you, that because that angle is obtuse, Ruhiff is trying to equivocate between that and the line that's going to the visible horizon. He's trying to somehow claim that that's the geometric horizon, and when you correct that angle, listen, this is where it gets really tricky. When you correct that angle from obtuse to right angle, that is a correction. That is his dip correction. Whereas technically that was correct at one time, but now the dip correction is not that. What he's not doing is he's not labeling it the height of light correction. It's really, really low. It's really low life stuff he's doing.
Okay, hold on. I'm glad I asked in the interim then, because it's still relevant. So you're saying that when he looks at the horizon, he does what he calls dip correction, but that would be a correction from the geometric horizon, wouldn't it?
That's what he's doing. He's trying to hijack the actual horizon and call it a geometric horizon.
Oh, right, I see. So he's looking at the horizon that we see and calling it the geometric... What is it, no Atmo Day? We are not going to see the geometric horizon, end quote, AB Science. Nobody's claiming we see physical geometry, end quote, Planner Walk. The geometric horizon only exists in the maths, end quote, the rumpus. What the hell are you doing, Roofy, thinking that you're looking at the geometric horizon to correct from? No. Refraction! Nobody's claiming the horizon's Earth curve, end quote. Tim Osman. So no, that's not what you're correcting for, Roofy. No, you haven't got a straight line to a geometric tangent point anymore. We debunked that, didn't we, mate? Yeah?
Well, hold on.
I also did read those comments. The bit I liked was Roofy saying he didn't want to come here to discuss that. I wonder why. I wonder why he wouldn't want to come here to talk about this. Correction. From a geometric horizon. I wonder, Roofy. Maybe it's because I mute people. Or that you'd absolutely, without question, get annihilated the moment you came in and tried to impose a straight line to a geometric horizon. Do you disagree with all of your anti-flat earthers as well as the globe? What, all of those idiots barking refraction, you're going to just ignore every last one of them, Roofy? I think we'll find you are one of them, barking out, it's not no Atmo day, refraction, obviously, Roofy. Yeah? Are you scared that we might play those quotes to you, Roofy, if you were to come here and start telling us how you got a straight line to the geometric horizon? Is that why you don't want to come here, matey? Yeah, I think so. Bless him. Maybe if you had a neutral platform, they wouldn't understand that you're drawing a straight line to a geometric horizon on no Atmo day. Maybe they wouldn't understand that and you'd win. Hey? Yeah, nice try, Roofy. Yeah, let us know in the comments why it is you don't want to come here. Maybe it's the mute button.
Well, the correction from a geometric horizon is irrelevant. He's correcting to a flat plane. And then you're going to apply the angle in the celestial sphere model. So why is there a horizon in the celestial sphere model if you corrected from it?
Yeah, but you're missing something else here. Sorry.
No, I'm not. That's my premise of the debate.
Yeah, no,
I'm not missing anything.
The point I'm making is that what Ruhif is avoiding, what he's trying to avoid, he's trying to equivocate between the old version of dip correction, which was height of void correction, and the new version of dip correction, which is a correction from a geometric mathematical horizon up to the actual horizon we actually see. But all the time, what he's actually doing is he's avoiding height of void correction. Now, I know it doesn't matter to you because you're going to be holding the task on the celestial sphere model, but he is avoiding height of void correction.
Tell him that's the old and busted.
Yeah.
Not the new hotness that he's doing.
Well, see, it's not to see, because technically the height of void correction is the dip correction, but they changed it. So now there's two things. There's height of void correction and dip correction. Dip correction is a mathematical globe correction, right? And height of void correction is a real world correction. So dip correction means nothing. Whether you do it or don't do it, it's only a maths equation. Whereas height of void correction has to be done. Otherwise, you're going to have an obtuse angle and not a right angle triangle. And he's avoiding height of void correction because that is described as using the surface of Earth, basically mean sea level as a zero, as the baseline, the adjacent side of your elevation angle, your right angle triangle. He's avoiding that like a plague. He wants to equivocate around between different types of refraction and different types of dip corrections, and then go past that and start talking about site reduction and God knows what other nonsense he wants to talk about.
Well, I'm not saying that he has an argument with the horizon being geometric. I'm not saying that. I'm saying even if he does that, celestial sphere is still waiting for him to run into, even in that. That was my whole point. Because I'm only going to use two responses. That requires straight lines, or that contradicts the celestial sphere model, and why.
As we have a moment of silence
What
for
the hell
our dearly
happened?
departed globe.
I thought I got disconnected.
I'm waiting for a Glober to butt in and like tell us we don't understand, but it just doesn't seem to happen anymore these days.
Yeah, we're taking a moment of silence for the dearly departed globe.
I got to go, guys, though. It's great talking to y'all.
All right, see you later, John.
See you, John.
Later, bro.
Next time, just drop. Don't say bye-bye. Just disappear subtly. Talk about killing the mood. No, my subtle hint is going to lead to a dead air outro for me to say, obviously, super exciting. You must stay tuned because it's that exciting. You're all going to want to stay tuned if you're watching one of the premiering streams. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
That's all right. It's Friday. We could call it Freaky Friday. Why not?
The energy level was super, super high, and then John said, all right, guys, I got to go. They're like tanked, and I'm just setting up my lights, and I'm getting everything ready, and I'm like, please don't let them all just shut up. This is just the wrong moment for me to have to start opening up my mic. Here we go.
Yeah, it was depressing when he said that.
Yeah, you're not kidding. just what you need. What you need is a good cliffhanger at the end of the live show. You know, somebody joining and putting out an outrageous claim, and then somebody starts getting the sense that they're going to be able to draw blood, and then I say stay tuned. That's the ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah. The layers of Ruhif's lies are an onion, isn't it? He's an onion of lies and trickery. Ruhif. There's absolutely zero honesty ever with that guy. No,
Why would you ever talk to somebody who says the meanings of words, the definitions of words are fucking meaningless? That's literally a quote from the guy.
Right. So he's like a pathological liar, but towards himself. So he's pathologically delusional.
But in all the time I've dealt with him, I've listened to other people deal with him. I have yet to hear any honesty out of him. He's just incapable of honesty. Everything he does has some sneaky plan behind it. You know, it's just there's no
he does
honesty.
this to himself too. You know, he is pathological about it, but he also lies to himself, and he gets really confused because he just creates this giant network of like, oh, I'm planning all this setup and all that, and then you lose track of what's actually real because of all the machinations. So he's basically just drowning in years of compounded anti-flat Earth lying. Right? Hello, hello. Yo, where did everybody go?
I don't know. It did just get quiet though, Arwen.
Hello, Kumu. Thanks for coming on.
No
You
problem. Hey,
had
Arwen.
certain ideas this morning in my chat, and you said that you were going to share that over here. So looking forward to that.
What was it about Coriolis?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. About what was it? What did I say? Coriolis is weakest at the equator and strongest at the poles.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said in your chat.
So how is the apparent deflection strongest at the poles and weakest at the equator? Explain this to me.
You know what the cause of Coriolis is, right? The different speeds that the ground moves, the further you get from the axis, it gets faster. Reason we have
That's not the
Coriolis.
cause of Coriolis.
No, that's not correct.
That's totally not a
That's centripetal force. That's not the same thing.
That's not centripetal force. You mean centrifugal force, but that's not neither one of those.
What you're talking about, Virus, is different latitudes, but they are all rotating at 15 degrees per hour.
Yeah, but that's not what
cause
causes
of
it. It's the fact
Coriolis
that it's
is
two
two separate
totally different
reference
tangential
frames.
speeds of the ground.
And Coriolis
It's the
is,
re-
and Coriolis is an apparent reflection observed from the non-inertial reference frame, the rotating
Okay,
reference
let me
frame.
ask you this. Let me ask you this. According to the globe claim, when do we see deviation to the east?
All the time.
Yeah, continually.
No, you don't, because there's some that happens to the west.
All the time. That's the globe claim, that the globe is rotating, and that's why we have sunrises and sunsets, and we have the movement of the stars.
What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Come out. Why
That's
would
the globe
deviation
claim.
happen to
the
the
reason
east?
the sun rises and sets, and the reason we have sidereal rotation of the stars is because that's the speed that the globe rotates at.
Right. The point
Why would
is
we-
that the universe
why would
is
we have
sort of
deviation
standing
to the
still
east?
and the globe is turning underneath it. That's the basic premise, Akumu.
Yeah,
Did you
so
forget?
if it was just Earth turning under stuff, all deviation would happen to the west. Why do we see why would they claim deviation to the east?
Who cares? You don't believe it, so you're not a globe believer.
I'm saying, but why does the globe claim deviation to the
Why
east?
don't you ask the globe?
Is my
Ask the
question.
globe, and then ask why you don't believe it. You don't believe the globe.
Okay, but y'all are the ones that understand the globe claim, right? So explain that globe claim to me.
Why? You don't believe it, so you're on the same, you're in the same predicament as us. You don't believe the globe.
Who says who?
Says you.
Yeah, your globe rotates west to east, Como.
Yeah, I know the globe goes east. That's the way the rotation is. So why would we have deviation to the east?
Who cares? They claim there's 15 degrees of it. There isn't, and you're asking why they'd claim it? Who cares? You just need to believe it.
What deviation? Where
Why
is
would
this deviation?
I don't ever believe
Como?
anything nobody says to me. I never take anybody's word for stuff.
Okay, well, in this case, you don't believe the globe and its claim of 15 degrees an hour drift caused by Earth turning beneath stuff. You don't believe it, and you're asking us to explain why they'd claim it. Who cares why they claim it? If you're a globe believer, you just need to believe it. That's all that matters.
No, nobody needs to just believe stuff. You gotta understand.
Yeah, you do if you want to be called a globe believer, because that's what it requires. Doesn't matter whether it happens. Doesn't matter if we prove it can't happen because of shortened flight times. All that matters is that you believe there's drift at 15 degrees an hour, as the globe claims. Don't concern yourself with it not happening. Don't concern yourself with why they'd claim it when it clearly isn't happening. Just believe it if you want to call yourself a globe believer. That's all that matters.
No. The one thing I learned in science class was question everything. So
good, you're questioning this nonsense claimed by the globe that Earth turns beneath stuff to cause 15 degrees an hour drift. Good for you. You're questioning it. We're questioning it. Everybody's questioning it. Yeah, it's a complete lie.
Okay, then let's prove that it's a lie. Let's see.
Yeah, Earth, if turning beneath stuff would shorten flight times, Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half. If me on the ground could observe that plane seeming to drift, that's Coriolis effect, only caused by me turning beneath it. If I'm turning beneath aeroplanes, they've got shortened flight times, and they haven't. If I'm turning beneath drones to see Coriolis effect in them, then they're drifting away from me 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, and they're not. So the claim that Earth turns beneath the stars, 15 degrees an hour drift, that's Coriolis effect, has other implications that do not occur, even though they claim to. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth turns under footballs. It's apparently in the sniper's handbooks that Earth turns underneath bullets. That's the claim. Now, the fact that it doesn't happen and Charlotte to LA would have a shortened flight time, it just means it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean you, as a globe believer, shouldn't believe it. You just have to believe it regardless of the fact that it doesn't happen. That's all that matters to call yourself a globe believer.
Okay, Nathan. So where is Coriolis the strongest and the weakest?
Well, Coriolis effect
What
is observed
Coriolis?
from a non-inertial turning reference frame. So if you want to describe where Coriolis is the strongest, it doesn't have a strength. It's a not actual deflection observed as you rotate beneath things. So if you're going to call it strong or weak, you don't understand what it is.
Well,
That's how I
most
know you
apparent
don't understand.
deflection, right? Let's just call it most apparent deflection. Well, on a spinning ball Earth,
Why?
it would
That's
be
not what he
at
said.
the equator.
It's not what he said. He said strongest and weakest. Well, that implies that it has some force on things that could be defined as strong or weak, which clearly implies that he doesn't understand what it is, because it's an illusion observed as you turn beneath things.
Can I say
Asking me how
something?
strong or weak it is shows you don't understand what it is. Who cares what it is? Doesn't matter what it is. Just believe that Earth has it. That drift at 15 degrees an hour that definitely would shorten flight times.
Okay, so
Byron,
if
you
you
don't know
think
what
it's all
Neil,
uniform,
shut up.
it's not strong. If you think it's not a strongest or weakest point, that just you don't know the globe claim, because the globe claims there is
Sorry,
a
the globe
weakest
claims
and
Coriolis
strongest
effect.
point.
The globe claims Coriolis effect? That's an illusion. So if you're telling me if I don't understand weak or strong, I don't understand the globe claim, the globe claims Coriolis effect. That's an illusion observed as you turn beneath things. There's no strong or weak in the globe claim of Coriolis effect. Again, you don't understand what the globe claims. That's an illusion that can't be qualified as strong or weak, observed as you turn beneath things on a turning Earth to shorten flight times that doesn't happen. You don't understand that.
Not according to the globe. The globe
According to the globe, it's got Coriolis effect. I've just clarified what the globe claims. Nobody here doesn't understand what the globe's claiming. We all appreciate from a very early age that it's claimed to have Coriolis effect, an illusion that cannot be qualified in terms of strength because it's not really happening. It only occurs because you turn beneath things and they seem to drift. Well, that seeming to drift isn't really occurring and cannot be called strong or weak. It's only observable if you're turning beneath things, and if we're turning beneath things, we've got shortened flight times, because Earth's turning beneath things like aeroplanes, and it isn't. It doesn't matter that it isn't. You just have to believe that it is, even though it isn't, if you want to call yourself a globe believer. That's it. Simple.
not according to the globe claim. There's a strongest and weakest somewhere.
Right, it's called Coriolis. An illusion. Fifth time, do it again and I'll kick you out. The globe claims Coriolis. So not according to the globe claim. Yeah, I've corrected you. The globe claims Coriolis effect. You telling me that that's not what the globe claims? No, that's what you think it isn't. It doesn't matter what you think the globe claims. It claims Coriolis effect.
I could post it. I know it claims Coriolis. I'm also
Fundamentally,
saying
Neil
it claims
deGrasse Tyson
Coriolis.
understands it. That's why he said what he says. So
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It's not that we're saying something that's incoherent. No, we came to the same conclusion that Neil deGrasse Tyson did, because that's what the rhetoric says.
Rhetoric says Coriolis effect. Neil deGrasse Tyson says Coriolis effect. The textbooks say Coriolis effect. An illusion only observable if you turn beneath things, and it can't be qualified in strength because it's an illusion. You don't understand what the globe claims, Akumu Virus. You don't believe the globe.
Who says I don't believe
Can you say something?
I am a glober
You're gonna have to
first.
fix your mic before that.
If you're a glober, you should understand what the globe says, though, Akamu, and you're not. You're like,
I
you're
know.
stating
That's why
things
I'm
against
saying.
it.
But that's why I'm saying the globe claims that.
Don't tell me what the globe claims. You've just repeatedly asked me about how much strength you'll have in the Coriolis effect that's an illusion. The globe claims Coriolis effect. You don't know what it is, so don't start laying down what you think the globe claims when you've asked me to qualify how strong it'll be. Coriolis effect doesn't have a strength. It's a not actual force. That means not actually forcing anything in terms of strength. You won't be defining what you don't understand, Virus. Let's get that absolutely clear. You won't be telling us. You won't be telling us.
Yeah,
You won't
we
be
heard you,
talking through me
Akamu. You
either.
can
Last
post
attempt to shut your mouth while
He's
I
not
speak.
hearing me
Last
because he's
attempt.
talking.
Last chance.
Yeah, we heard you. We heard
No,
you
you
already.
did. You did. He did.
Shut your
He
mouth.
heard you too.
Hello?
He heard you.
Hello? Hello?
He didn't
Do you
hear me.
just need removing? Is he descending it into chaos because he wants to define what the globe says it has when it says it has Coriolis effect, defined by me, and proven not to be occurring, because to be occurring would be turning beneath things, shortening flight times. Now, he doesn't understand that. He's asking me how much force it has at a given location, meaning he doesn't understand what Coriolis effect is. So you're not going to be defining what the globe says it is. You don't understand what it is, so you won't be defining it, Virus.
Let me ask him a question. Akamu, is there anywhere across your globe where the Coriolis isn't?
Coriolis is weakest at the equator. I'm not gonna say just isn't. You drop
Virus,
it.
Virus,
That's contrary.
strong
Let me ask you a
illusions.
question, man.
You
Let me
think an
ask you a question,
illusion
man.
has a strength?
If you drop a bowling ball from a high place on the equator, you will notice a drift to the east. But
Oh, so
I
now
think
there
they
is
consider
drift.
it Coriolis as well too. That would be my answer.
So
to your
there is a
question,
drift
man.
now. Can you show anybody that drift, or do you not like debating about this drift that before you said wouldn't happen, but
what
you think it does happen?
What?
Don't act strange, Virus. What you've done here is obvious.
He just said
You
something
do
weird.
not.
He just said something
Excuse
weird.
me.
So I questioned it.
Excuse me. Virus, I'm talking to you. Be polite. What you're doing here is you're making up your own definition of Coriolis because you can't accept the globe's definition of Coriolis. You're an outcast.
What? Yeah, I'm about to post proof of what they say about where it's strongest at.
You said that a while ago, though.
Yeah, I'm literally about to do it now. I was sitting there talking, I was getting distracted, but I'm literally about to do it now.
What's the cause of Coriolis, Virus?
Earth turning under the objects at different speeds.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I mean, if what you're saying is accurate, Akamu, you do realize that like military ballistics would have to account for a different formula depending on where they are, and we don't see that at all. Like it's non-applicable.
It's the same formula. It works
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. I should have listened to what he just said.
Listen to what you just said, Akamu. You said it's got different values.
It's not a different formula for it.
Sorry.
You said it has different values. If it has different values, then it's going to have a different predictability.
Yeah, Jesus. Step away to get a cup of coffee, and immediately there's four people talking.
Whoa.
Four people talking at the same time. Obviously, that means shut up. So, Virus, I heard from the kitchen whilst making a coffee, 10th man asked you to define what Coriolis was. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
What is it?
What did I say, Tim?
Well, I don't want to speak for
I
you.
can tell you.
No, hang on. No, I want him to say it again because it was very short. It was something turning, what was that?
Earth turning underneath objects at different speeds.
He said the Earth turning at different speeds, or different speeds generating different values of effect.
So now I've got Brian, Eli, a guy from Discord, and Virus answering the question. What is wrong with you?
I was latching on to this point before you came back in, Nathan. Earth turning underneath objects at different speeds. Earth, in his vernacular, globe Earth, turns at 15 degrees per hour. So how can it turn underneath objects at different speeds?
Oh, the rim velocity of a roundabout can be different speeds, but if Earth's turning beneath objects as defined by Virus as being the Coriolis effect, that's you observing things seeming to drift at different rates at different latitudes because you're turning underneath them at a different rim velocity, based on your assumption of a sphere Earth turning beneath things. But if you're turning beneath things to see them drift at different velocities, then flight times would be reduced because you're turning beneath those flights to see them drift at different rates at different parts of the world that's turning beneath them at different speeds. So Earth's turning beneath aeroplanes at varying different speeds according to Virus. No, that would shorten flight times. Charlotte, North Carolina to LA would only take an hour and a half. If Earth was turning beneath it with 850 miles an hour of the Earth turning beneath it, that would drastically shorten the flight time. So we definitely don't have Coriolis effect, us seeing things seem to drift because we turn beneath things. Definitely not. It would shorten flight times. Oh, no response from you, just chewing sounds then, Virus.
Was that for me?
Yeah, you were the one involved in this conversation. You were quite content talking when there was 4 people talking, but when I succinctly laid down how a claim of Earth turning beneath things at varying speeds means Earth turning beneath aeroplanes at varying speeds, that would shorten flight times. That's the second time I've said it. You were off mute making the noise that you're making now, content to talk through me as I summarise that which you've completely ignored. So you're content to talk while other people are talking, but actually acknowledging what I've just said to you about your horseshit ideas of Earth turning beneath things at different speeds, as cited, would shorten flight times. That doesn't involve you having to talk through me as I lay it out. It just involves you responding to it after it's laid out rather than completely ignoring it and then going on mute.
I've heard it before. There you go.
Why don't you believe it? Why don't you believe about Earth turning beneath things to cause drift 15 degrees an hour thereof called Coriolis effect? Why don't you believe the globe?
Because if I do believe the globe, that...
Well, you can't because it would shorten flight times. You're telling me after me explaining that it would shorten flight times to believe the globe, you still believe the globe. So you believe in shortened flight times even though they don't happen.
I just answered that question while you was talking over me, Nathan.
You said you do believe. So the moment you said I do believe in Coriolis effect from the globe, I pointed out that you believe in flight times being shortened when they're not then.
I actually answered that while you was talking.
So you answered twice to, I believe in shortened flight times, the consequence of Earth turning beneath stuff to cause Coriolis effect. You believe the flight times are shortened then?
If you think that's what I said, you wasn't listening.
I heard you say I believe in the globe, and now I've got G+ piping up, so there's more than 2 people talking, of course. I heard you say you believed in the globe. Well, if you believe in the globe turning beneath things to cause Coriolis effect, then we'd have shortened flight times, and we don't.
Okay, I already addressed that.
Oh, did you? What a succinct rebuttal it was.
What was it?
It didn't come. There is no rebuttal. Earth doesn't turn beneath things because we'd have shortened flight times. There's no response to that. I'm just telling you that as a globe believer, you better believe it regardless of it not happening. Doesn't matter that it doesn't happen. Doesn't matter that Earth turning beneath things would cause shortened flight times. Believe it if you want to call yourself a globe believer. Believe that nonsense that doesn't happen. That's Coriolis effect on a turning Earth. Believe it, okay? Because that's what you need to do if you want to call yourself a globe believer. Do you understand? It doesn't matter that it doesn't happen and would shorten flight times.
I don't think he's getting it, Nathan.
No, but 52
No,
minutes
really?
after the hour and 53 minutes after the hour, I posted a list from DuckDuckGo. Citations galore. All 12 of the citations talk about Coriolis effect as an illusion, physics EDU, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
So
that's why I, rightly so, stopped him from poisoning my audience with what he says as an individual who doesn't believe in the globe, what the globe claims. Now, that's not going to be tolerated anymore. You clowns telling my audience what the globe claims, that definitely won't be happening anymore. I want to make that clear to my audience and anybody who joins on the panel. If you start making up crap about what the globe claims, and it's not what the globe claims, you'll be met with the most disdain I can muster from here on forth. I'm not going to listen to you idiots deciding that you're God, yeah? That you're going to make up what the globe is, when it has very specific claims made by the church that you better damn well believe, regardless of whether they happen or not. You just better believe them. Don't tell me what you think the globe claims, when you don't even understand what Coriolis is, and are asking me how much force there'll be. Clearly someone who doesn't understand Coriolis isn't going to be laying down what the globe claims here. Absolutely not. I will, because I do know what the globe claims, and I know how it doesn't work. You idiots who come here and start telling us, I, on my own, alone, without the Western world behind me, say the globe claims this. No, that won't be happening. Not anymore. We're not going to argue against your individualistic ideas of what the globe could be. when it's got very specific claims. We'll just point out, like we've done with Virus today, that he doesn't believe them. And he can agree with us how he doesn't believe anything, and he'll question it all, while secretly defending Earth turning beneath at different speeds, shortening flight times. And then tell us how he does believe, with the shortened flight times that contradict his belief.
Why would they shorten flight time?
Because you'd have Earth turning beneath at different speeds, as you've just told us Coriolis is. The illusion that's created as you turn beneath things. Well, the illusion created as you turn beneath aeroplanes is Earth turning beneath aeroplanes, shortening their flight times.
Coriolis isn't that strong.
Sorry, is this the wanker who's on his own alone and doesn't understand what Coriolis is telling me what it is and what the globe claims it is? Is that what this is? That's not going to be happening. You idiots who don't understand and don't believe in the globe aren't going to be telling me what the globe claims. I know.
I'm literally reading it.
Excuse me, fundy muting much? I will be telling you, the uneducated, what the globe is and what the globe claims, because I do know. And you clearly don't. Not only do you not know what it claims, you don't know what the words it uses to claim them mean, like Coriolis. You ask me how much force it's got. Absurd, ludicrous, and ably demonstrating how little you know about what that word means. Now you've gone and defined it for one of my panel members, whilst fundy muting the crap out of me again. Did someone moan that he couldn't be heard while he was talking through me in Discord? Was that what he was moaning about? You want to carry on fundy muting me, Virus?
Did you see what he's posted, Nathan? It literally says there is actually no physical force involved.
Right, but he asked me how much force there'd be at a given point. As I was clearly interrupted telling my audience, I'm not going to tolerate somebody who doesn't even understand the word and its meaning. That would be Coriolis effect. How and why the globe claims it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. You won't be defining what the Coriolis effect is, fundy idiots who claim to be globe believers when they really don't believe in anything the globe says, and have got a pre-worked out script of how they think the globe will work. I won't even be listening to it from here on forward. The moment I hear you deviating from the church's rhetoric of a heliocentric sphere Earth, I'll shut you down immediately. And say, how dare you tell my audience incorrectly what the globe and the church who created it claim. No, you won't be doing that. I'll be doing that. I'll be telling you, because I know and understand and have read what the globe claims, what it actually claims. Then I'll tell you how it doesn't work, and then you can tell me how you still believe it. You still believe in Earth turning beneath stuff to cause Coriolis effect, in spite of me pointing out with a lot of fundy muting that would shorten flight times.
Yeah, the days of you guys being DJs and trying to remix this globe to try to argue that's done. It's a wrap for that.
The guy in Discord who saw the claim, read the claim that he posted, please, because I can't see it. I want to see.
Yeah, I'll read it. He literally put 51 minutes. Yeah, 51 minutes past the hour. From the top, the Earth spins on its axis from west to east. The Coriolis force, therefore, acts in a north-south direction. The Coriolis force is zero at the equator, though the Coriolis force is useful in mathematical equations. There is actually no force involved, contrary to what you're claiming, Akamu. So why were you posting something that's contradicting your word?
That is not contradicting anything I'm saying whatsoever.
Sorry, what you're saying we couldn't give a crap about. You're some crazy idiot out lone horse, lone ranger style, making up stuff that you say the globe claims. Right, the globe claims Coriolis effect. That's a fact. But you're telling me that we're making up what you say? What you say the globe claims is inconsequential to anything. It claims Coriolis effect. Deflection causes you turn beneath things. That would shorten flight times. What you say the globe claims isn't going to be tolerated anymore.
What did I go against that?
We don't care. We know what the globe claims. It claims Coriolis deflection, claimed to be Earth turning beneath stuff to make it seem like it's drifting away, when in reality it's just you turning beneath it. Well, if we're just turning beneath aeroplanes, it would shorten their flight times. So it definitely doesn't happen. The globe claims it does, and we couldn't give a crap what you say the globe claims. You are but one man, And the globe claims are written down. We know what they are. We don't need you to tell us what you think they are when you don't even understand what Coriolis is and have dug out citations that simultaneously say there's zero Coriolis at the equator. That would mean the stars had stopped on a globe Earth. So your citation's stupid.
You think the stars move because of Coriolis?
No, that's the globe claim of 15 degrees an hour deflection called Coriolis effect, which would mean Earth's turning beneath the stars, and that would shorten flight times. If Earth's turning beneath stuff not attached, like the stars, like drones, like aeroplanes, like footballs, like pendulums, like gyroscopes, like bullets, like claimed by the globe. It's claimed to have Coriolis effect.
So you think the globe claim says stars move because of...
I think it claims Coriolis effect, as I've quite clearly and very articulately just stated. I know that it claims Coriolis effect, but that would shorten flight times.
No, but you think star...
No. Yes, stupid moron, who's going to now tell me that my stating the globe claims Coriolis needs to be met with no? Yeah, it does. It would just shorten flight times, because Earth would be turning in underneath stuff not attached to cause that effect. So yes, that's what the globe claims. It just doesn't happen.
Star movement is because of Coriolis.
That's what the globe claims. Earth turning beneath the stars to cause deflection at 15 degrees an hour. Of course, that would shorten flight times if we're turning beneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour, because then we're turning beneath bullets, like it's claimed by the globe we do. And we're turning beneath footballs. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson makes clear, the globe claims it will to cause Coriolis deflection. Like the globe claiming we turn underneath pendulums. That's what it claims. But it would shorten flight times if we're turning beneath aeroplanes. So we're not. Just nonsense. Doesn't happen. We don't have Coriolis that's Earth-based.
Why does he think the stars are turning? Go ahead, Akamu. Why?
I don't care. Do you not give a shit what this stupid retard says is the cause of the stars? I don't care. The globe claims it's Coriolis effect, and we can debunk that. It would shorten flight times.
Actually, not for nothing. I was going to ask the same thing. Like, virus. Why do the stars move in your narrative?
In the globe narrative, he doesn't understand that. He was asking us what forces were applicable at various different speed rates, so he doesn't understand this stuff. Why are you asking him? He's stupid. He doesn't understand what the globe claims.
We all want to know. We all ask that question inside ourselves.
But let me get it straight. You all on the G Plus panel want to know what virus thinks?
Yeah, I want to know how insane he really is. I want to see how deep his mental defects go.
Sorry, he's not a globe believer. Sorry, is he starting a new virus religion? It's nothing to do with the globe's claim, so who cares?
Yeah, we want to check out his new virus religion, see what it's all about.
Okay, fair enough. What's your new virus religion? It's definitely not the globe's.
You're just going to find out it matches the globe. That's all you got.
Matches the globe that claims Coriolis deflection at 15 degrees an hour to cause the rotation in the stars, and the drift in the pendulum and the gyro, and the football goal being scored because Earth turned beneath it. Now, that would shorten flight times for us.
Well, Coriolis isn't measured in degrees.
So are you going to start telling us what Coriolis is when you're asking us how much force it has? That's not going to happen either. I made that absolutely clear. You, the idiot here, who doesn't understand the words coming out of his own mouth, won't be defining things for us ever again. You don't get to do that anymore.
Have you ever seen the Coriolis calculator?
So the Coriolis calculator as in the calculation of how much deflection you observe as you turn beneath things? Yeah, it doesn't happen on the ground that we're standing on, though. There is no deflection to calculate. Because if there was, we'd be turning beneath aeroplanes and calculating how much quicker they were going west. We don't do that, though. So there is no drift to be calculating on a sphere Earth that spins. Mister, I'm going to fundy mute every last word of this.
I didn't know there was an illusion key on the calculator.
You didn't know there was a calculator for Coriolis?
Sorry.
No, the illusion key.
Sorry,
an illusion calculator?
What Coriolis would that be? We don't have any on Earth. On the ground I'm standing on, there's no Coriolis to observe to calculate. And this is flat Earth debate. I'm only interested in the claims of what our physical reality does. One of those claims is Coriolis effect. The globe claims it'll happen. It claims it'll happen at 15 degrees an hour. The cause of it is Earth turning beneath stuff. That doesn't happen, it would shorten flight times. Beyond that, I don't care what virus has to muse about it.
The calculator shows what they care when it comes to Coriolis. It shows what they have as factors.
And?
It's the globe calculator.
Sorry, the globe calculating how much Earth will turn beneath things, that would shorten flight times when they're travelling west. That doesn't happen.
Well, you can actually put it in the calculator and see.
I can put it into the calculator, and you better put it in the calculator and tell me how much quicker Charlotte to LA would be with 830 miles an hour of Earth turning beneath it. I tell you already, I've calculated it. It's an hour and a half. That doesn't happen. Charlotte to LA takes 4.5 hours. There is no Earth turning beneath that flight for me to look up at it and observe Coriolis drift.
How much Coriolis acceleration?
None. Earth exhibits 0 Coriolis drift. It would shorten flight times.
So that's where you're wrong, because the globe...
Really? It would shorten flight times if it was there because we'd be turning beneath aeroplanes. It's the only way to observe it happening.
Can I see that? Can I see that proof?
No, you can't,
Where
because
it's
Earth's not turning. So we definitely
it don't
can't see
exist.
Coriolis drift, no.
It doesn't
really just
exist.
ask
You
us
can't
for
say
proof.
what globe claims that flight time can be shorter because of Coriolis.
Sorry, are you claiming Coriolis effect doesn't exist?
No, I'm claiming that the globe doesn't claim what you say it does.
Sorry, the globe claims Coriolis effect.
The globe claims what I say as well too.
What you say? No, the globe doesn't claim what you say. It claims Coriolis effect. That's what it claims. That is the globe claim, not what you say.
Yeah, not what you say.
No, Coriolis effect isn't what I say. That's what it is, claimed by the globe. There isn't a soul on the claim to be spinning Earth that would deny the globe claims Coriolis effect.
You can't even get the claim right.
What, Coriolis effect? I can. It's Coriolis effect. I know what the globe claims. It would shorten flight times if we turn beneath things to see them seem to drift at a rate of 15 degrees an hour, as the globe claims. That's Coriolis effect. I know what the globe claims. It just doesn't happen, and if it did, it would shorten flight times.
Okay, if the globe
Virus, your short-term memory seems to go against you. 5 minutes ago, you said the Coriolis is based on Earth
with a
turning.
mass
My gosh,
of
is this guy
200
talking or what?
kilograms experience moving 200 miles per hour on the equator.
Sorry, how much Coriolis what experience?
How much? Oh, goddamn. I got it on. Go back. How much Coriolis with a mass of 200 kilograms going 200 miles an hour on the equator experience?
Sorry, the mass doesn't experience Coriolis effect. It's, as explained, about 15 times. So, are you going to Fundy mute me? Fundy mute me, right?
It's in the
Fundy mute my answer, right? Fundy mute my answer.
I already posted.
Fundy mute my
I
answer. I'm
posted
going to
the
kick you out. Last chance.
I posted it
Last
already.
chance.
I posted it already.
I'm going to kick you out. Every word I say gets Fundy muted. Now, normally I wouldn't point it out, but earlier you objected to one of the other panel members in Discord that you weren't being heard as you interrupted me. So you were heard interrupting me and moaning that nobody could hear you, constantly Fundy muting me. Now you're doing it continuously. You've asked me how much Coriolis effect a projectile will experience. I understood your question and attempted to answer it, while a chanting idiot talked through every second word of the answer, while simultaneously projecting that that's happening to him. Yeah? Behaviour of scum that want to make up what the world does. Play God. You're not God. You don't understand Coriolis effect, idiot, because Coriolis effect is only observable as you turn beneath things. The projectile cannot and will not experience Coriolis effect. Now, I ripped Wolfie 6020 a new one based on his exact same claim that his aeroplane would be correcting for Coriolis drift. It can't, it won't, because it's not a man on a turning reference frame observing it seem to drift. The illusion that Earth is claimed to have, that you will see things not attached to it seem to drift because you turn beneath them at 15 degrees an hour. That would shorten flight times, and it cannot be corrected for in the projectile. You've asked me a question about how much correction the projectile can have. demonstrating it again for the second time, that you, the moron who wants to tell my audience what Coriolis is now the globe claims it, doesn't understand what it is. The projectile can't account for it, it can't experience it. You can only experience this if you're turning beneath things. You idiot who doesn't understand what Coriolis is. That's you, Virus. An idiot still involved in the conversation, interrupting every second word, and doesn't understand what the words are.
How many times are we going to go through this? How many times?
So when does deviation happen to the east according to the globe?
Right, why are you asking me about a Coriolis deflection that can't be occurring if it did it would shorten flight times? What part of it would shorten flight times if Earth was turning beneath things requires you to fundy mute me in the middle of the statement like you're doing now? What part of that statement that flight times would be reduced needs interrupting? What part of it?
I heard you the first 100 times you said it.
You haven't acknowledged it. You seem to be asking me about how much Coriolis deflection would happen at a certain point, and ignoring that would shorten flight times in favour of continual, non-stop, fundy muting straight through the top of me. So I'm going to remove you. I'm going to remove you because you're not listening to me. So that's the end of Virus's time here. He's not listening to me. What he is doing is asking me about a globe claim he doesn't believe in and how much of it will occur, ignoring the fact that if it occurred, it would shorten flight times. Then he'll chant that he's listened and acknowledged, something that he has to ignore in order to ask me how much deflection there'll be on a globe Earth that's spinning when that would shorten flight times.
Yeah, it's about time he left.
Constant chanting, constant fundy muting. Not only that, projection that I'm doing it, like Gem Panda did with the mute button itself. So you can't hear me, guys in Discord, yeah, because what, you're talking through the toast non-stop? What an outrage. Yeah, they project their constant disruptions, constant interruptions. More than content to talk when there's 4 people talking because he's instigated it. But when I finally get control of the conversation and put things to him, he ignores it completely, shuts down. Silence is the response. When I give him the repetition of the thing he's ignored, he'll start chanting through the top of it being repeated. Maybe claiming that he understands things, or that we're ignoring his claims that the globe doesn't make. Yeah, outrageous. That's the behaviour of somebody who's lost their way. Yeah, can't find their way back to the globe and its belief in drift that doesn't happen and would shorten flight times. They need to chant through us to make themselves feel better about their obvious non-belief in the globe.
Yeah, you can't be that stupid.
It's not my responsibility to explain to anti-flat earthers why and how the globe fails. Why would they claim there's no drift on the equator, as my citation says, when that would mean the stars aren't moving in the heliocentric model? Why would they claim... I'm not making this crap up about the globe Earth that's spinning beneath things to cause Coriolis effect. The globe makes it up. Quiz Neil deGrasse Tyson, not me, about the failures of heliocentrism. I'm not responsible for the failures of heliocentrism. I'm here to laugh at idiots that want to come and be Lone Rangers and make up crap they say the globe claims, like Virus just did, and get all in a twist about how we won't let them make their claim about what the globe says, and how we're not listening to their claim. No, we won't be from here on forth. You either sit in line with what the globe actually claims, that's Coriolis deflection at 15 degrees an hour, shortening flight times, or you don't. You don't get to make up surplus crap that you say it makes up. No, that won't be happening. Never again.
His calculator, Nathan.
Calculator for how much Earth turns beneath things, shortening flight times. Wow, fascinating.
Well, since an
Like you
illusion can have a
elucidated
calculator, I guess it could have
earlier.
like a bench too, because he was asking how strong is this illusion? Does this illusion bench press and do curls and shit? Like, what the hell? You people sound crazy.
Virus is only interested in coming into a situation where he says any amount of rubbish, answers nothing, keeps asking you stupid questions, coming up with BS questions that are not globe, that are not connected directly to his globe claim. Like, I don't think, I myself wouldn't allow Virus anywhere near. I know it's not my business, but
Brian, I
it's just a
agree
time
with
waster.
you.
He's just a time waster. All he is an attention seeker. Isn't he, Neil? That's all he is, an attention seeker.
I agree, because there is no way he could think that he could X how strong the force is wherever. When Nathan just broke it down, that it's an optical illusion.
Well, he's not interested in that. He's not interested in the facts, though, Neil. He can make whatever claims he wants. The point is, he's not interested in the facts. Like, what was interesting was we never got to find out, and Nathan, I wish you left us find out, is he didn't seem to know why the stars above appear to move. He didn't realise that in his claim that's because the Earth is rotating.
He's too dumb to understand the implications of the things he even says.
Yeah, that's a problem though, right? Like it's the same. Apparently, they're not realizing it's the same cause.
Yeah, but we're not going to explain
in their narrative. Yeah, I know, it's funny.
He's brain dead, bro, literal.
But I will explain it when they're wrong. Point out how they're wrong. So when he's like, well, you start teaching me, because he's misinterpreted me saying, I'll be telling you what the globe does. Yeah, don't take that the wrong way. That doesn't mean when you get it wrong, I'll sit you down in front of a blackboard like a nice teacher and explain where you're wrong in a really kind way so that you finally... I'm not trying to teach you to get you to sit in line with this nonsense. Nah, I'll just point out that you don't believe in the globe because the globe claims Coriolis effect. And when I get no as a reply, you as an audience who aren't on the anti-flat earth side are normies, potentially, very few in numbers for my audience, can go, my God, he's denying that Earth has Coriolis effect. Wants to argue with them about what the globe does have. Well, yeah, he does, because he knows that it can't have Coriolis effect with shortened flight times. So he's going to make up something of his own, see if he can find citations from other idiots that say there's zero Coriolis on the equator. No, you see, in reality, that's where I will educate you on what the globe claims, because the consequences of that citation are the stars not moving. Utterly absurd.
Exactly. He doesn't even realize that. He's so dumb.
But he did get that, though. I don't think he realizes it's the same cause. The Earth spinning underneath.
Exactly. It's pathetic.
And they're running around presenting the citation like it's all good. That's the best part.
Yeah, citing other idiots like Danny Faulkner. Oh, well, Danny Faulkner says that there's an effect on the wind. Yeah, just because you can go and find another idiot that can figure out how to post things online, may even have a PhD in front of him, doesn't mean he's not a batshit insane idiot that doesn't understand what this effect is. Like Danny Faulkner. Well, it's no different. The fact that this citation didn't have the word Danny Faulkner above it doesn't mean that it's any different to any other citation written by a muppet that doesn't understand the effect. The fact that he can dig up a citation offline isn't shocking. What is that citation would have the Earth with no star movement at the equator, meaning it's absurd and wrong and not in line with the globe claim. But useful if you want to come along and explain away why there isn't any Coriolis deflection to see. Yeah, that would be your on your own alone Lone Ranger, not sitting in line with the globe claim nonsense that you spew here for us to argue with so we can occupy our time with what individuals think the globe says is going to happen. Well, I'm done with it. No, you don't believe in the globe either. Sod off, next. But you haven't heard what I said. No, I don't care what you think the globe claims. I already know what it claims and how it doesn't work. We're not going to waste our time listening to how you say it works.
Yeah, what's interesting is I found that too. You know, they say as a result of the Coriolis effect that we do not see, the wind currents above are faster. Now, that's the first law of thermodynamics violation on top of the Coriolis effect we don't see.
Yeah, they're describing a first law of thermodynamics violation because the atmosphere moving along with a sphere Earth that's presumed to be spinning means the velocity of the air higher up is travelling a greater circumferential distance at a greater radial value at height. Therefore, it's got to increase its velocity to maintain its velocity with respect to the ground travelling beneath it. First law of thermodynamics violation. Won't be doing that. Total nonsense. Gas would fill the vacuum of the sky before it even had a chance to move lockstep with a ground it's not attached to. The gas is unbonded. So they've got all sorts of problems when they claim an effect that normally is cited as described by Eli, where the very citation will describe how it isn't going to be an effect we're going to be seeing. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can cite other anti-flat earthers, can you? Yeah, no worries. We've got hostile witnesses that actually just say Coriolis effect and show examples of Coriolis effect that they claim is caused by Earth turning beneath stuff, shortening flight times if it actually occurred.
What kind of insane crap was that? Earth and atmosphere move as one. What?
Nathan, has anybody cited the Wikipedia article on the quote unquote Coriolis effect before?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because it's funny because it the Coriolis effect in Wikipedia it redirects to the title Coriolis force, which speaks to the double. I don't know, is it? Because it's a fictitious force in the first sentence.
I know that citation like the back of my hand.
Yeah, okay. Well, my point is like, but I feel like this is the debate that's being had. It's like like Akumu. I got no problems with him, but he comes in and he's calling it a force, and he's thinking of it as a force, and never considering it that it's a fictitious force, but in fact it's an effect. Even his Wikipedia article says it's an effect. And you blew in the face. You call it an effect, but it doesn't change the fact that his perspective, it's a force. And to every anti-flat earther, it's a force. Like it should be doing something, but it's not. I mean, that's stupid. It's just annoying.
They tend to ignore words like fictitious and pseudo. They don't like words like that.
Well, right. But I mean, I feel like our debate, it's like until we can agree on the definition and understand that effect means effect, and that if you want to call it a force, which you really shouldn't, that it's fictitious, then it's like, why even talk about it? Because it's just, we spin in circles, no pun intended. And this is what, meanwhile, we're talking about two different things. We're looking at a leg and a tail of the same animal, and, we're arguing about it. It's so crazy.
It's because the incoherency is within the paradigm. So the tenets of the globe would, if you looked at all of it, there's going to be contradictions. And so when people talk about it, they tend to doublespeak. And so we're talking about one thing while Kumu virus is talking about another thing. He's like, well, this thing is true too. I'm like, yeah, but we're both talking about the same paradigm. So if both things can't be true because it's just illogical, the way Nathan just laid it out. I don't understand why they can't understand. Well, I'm talking about what they said. You're talking about what they said. You have some disagreement about what they said, and you believe the other thing that they said. Well, they told you both things because they're double speaking, and you believed it.
Well, they're either being dishonest or they lack the cognition to understand that we're talking about the same thing.
Maybe.
I want to say
who
one
wrote
example.
This? Just one sec. Who wrote this? Terribly spelt description. DerpCon 1. Behaving awkward off topic. DerpCon 2.
Oh, that was me.
Attention grabby. False confidence. Ignores input. And moves on.
Yeah.
Okay, the spelling's awful, but we'll look past that. You carry on, Arwin, as it's
I
yours.
don't have spell correction on
That's okay. You carry on.
Photoshop.
Can I say
you
my
keep
example only, Nathan?
Just one sec, Jorge. We're just going to get Arwin to read off this list. You can't see it, but he'll maybe post it in Discord after reading it. If he verbalizes all of it, you'll hear it.
All right. It's still a work in progress.
Just read it.
Go, Arwin.
Yeah, just presenting it, right?
I've got it up already. I've got it up.
It's basically based on the original DEFCON system from the United States, hopefully obvious. But this is whole, like the Cold War, oh no, we're in so much danger of firing the missiles, basically. But this is trying to an attempt figured out by Seeking Starwater, somebody that visits my chat a lot, on how to size up how bad the trolling is, right? So DerpCon 1 is just very basic, behaving awkwardly and off topic. DerpCon 2 is attention grabby, false confidence, ignoring input and move on, right? We know that. Then DerpCon 3, it's already pretty serious at that point. Ad homing, just not all the time. Patronizing, straw manning with specific flat earth models, right? We all know that. Like, this is your model, this is your model. And DerpCon 4, it gets really serious. So constant straw man, scattergunning, paranoia, ad homs, constantly denying official globe claims, spamming, reversed world conspiracy theories about flat Earth, constant dark and slanderous ad homs, focused bullying, full Savonier syndrome, and spamming crazy subjects.
I see. So you just need where it's spamming, it would be fundy muting. If you just substitute spamming for fundy muting, you've got pretty much an identical list for what occurs here rather than in your chat.
Right, but this is adapted to chat. So this is typical sizing up the chat. Like,
no,
if
I've got
you're
the
going
context.
face to face, it's going to be very different.
No, I totally got the context. But I read it and I went, yeah, this applies. But while you were reading, I was thinking, how can I spin it? And it's just the one word spamming. You just need to change that to fundy muting. That would be, or chanting rather than spamming.
Yeah, you could do that. It's not, well, it isn't even adapted to our typical inner circle lingo here, right? So this was actually not meant for the flat Earth debate, but for my show. I just threw it in there, and it immediately caught your attention.
Yeah, it did. Well, I've maybe said before, I've got enough real estate to actually see things like that come through on Skype, whilst keeping an eye on Discord and keeping an eye on live chat and the live feed and OBS and my monitor temps and all the rest of it. You guys.
I like the name, DerpCon.
We're going to DerpCon 4. Getting the spamming and
It used to be Derp Alert. She said Derp Alert, and then I was thinking, okay, Derp Alert in different levels. That kind of sounds like a DEF CON system, and then DerpCon. Right? That's how I came up with it.
It's one of the most classic Red Dwarf jokes when they're travelling along and suddenly something happens to Starbug, and Rimmer says, "We need purple alert." So he says it, and the robot character presses a button, and a little light bulb in a box that says alert starts flashing. And then they move a little bit further on, and things get a bit worse, and he goes, "Step up to red alert." And the robot says, "Are you absolutely sure, sir? It does mean changing the bulb."
Can you hear me?
Wait, I just looked. This is an outdated version.
Hold on,
damn
Alwyn.
it.
Whole house was waiting in the background for a while. Sorry.
That's Sasha.
Okay.
Oh, Sasha. My bad, Sasha.
Yeah. It's all right. Nathan, did you find yourself in debating that that you needed to explain what is proof and what is evidence?
Have I ever found myself explaining what, who, and what evidence is? Is that the question?
Or yeah. Or did you hear somebody that, because I heard the people debating that is not proof because that maybe is evidence, you know.
But they're synonymous. The two words are synonymous with one another.
Yeah, but I heard the people was debating for 1 hour because some Globers saying, if is that proof, that doesn't mean that is evidence, you know. That's my example, because I translate that in my language with both words, proof and evidence, and both words is the same meaning in my language.
Absolutely, they're interchangeable. So if you use the,
Yeah.
I like to use the opposite in courtroom vernacular, because if you say the case failed because of a lack of evidence, well, evidence furnishes proof. That's what it is. You know, if you've got evidence that shows something happened, that in essence is the proof it happened. That's your evidence it happened. The two are synonymous. And not like donate and pledge are synonymous, like actually synonymous.
For example, in my language, to prove verb, it's made by the subject evidence. Practically, in my language, you don't say to prove. In my language, you say to evidence, because evidence is one verb, and mean both prove, evidence, whatever.
Yeah.
The second thing, what I wanted to tell you, curved level is curved. I know that you will say, of course, it's not, and everybody, even in English, for me, it doesn't have sense. But people are saying in English, the level is curved. But I again translate in my language. That has not any sense and cannot be. That means that people who are saying the level is curved, maybe it's curved in English, but it's not in my language. I don't know. I am confusing myself.
No, it's not you, I assure you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another thing they've tried to change over the while, right? Because they try to now distinguish between evidence and proof. But when we first started this, all they told us about was we have proof for the globe. All of a sudden, it seems like that word's not good enough. Why? What happened?
Yeah, it's one of those do-si-dos where you say, well, how do you prove the Earth's a sphere? Well, it's not that I can prove it per se. I've just got plenty of evidence for it. So you can prove it in plenty of ways then.
Yeah, they've said that. Oh, we can't provide proof of the Earth curve, but there's evidence that the Earth curve exists.
In my brain, it's working like this. I need to translate, and then what the fuck is the same? What they are saying, you know?
Yep, you're not wrong.
Don't hurt your brain too much, Sacha.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. You're clarifying because there's a different language going on. You're saying, am I right in my assumption that when they say, oh no, it's not proof, it's evidence, that they're actually saying it's not proof, it's proof? Yeah, they are, yeah. You're not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's not proof, it's proof. It's not evidence, it's evidence. That's DERB 5 level type shit.
Evidence comes from the word to be evident. Yeah? If something is evident, that means you can see that it's happened or it's occurred. That's what being evident is. Evidently.
I'm presenting the new updated correct version. I was actually showing
Oh, is
you
that
the
why?
old
I
one.
wondered why my screen was going a bit bonkers. Let's just get rid of mine, unpin me, so you can be... Okay. So it's just with spelling error corrections.
Unfortunately, no, not that one. And I ruined my original file, so I can't edit it anymore. I have to redo the whole thing.
Okay, whatever. Great, thank you. No, it's a good talking point.
But globe can work if you don't use your senses. If you don't understand the words how you understand now, then globe can work for sure. Because everything what you watch with your eyes is not true. That means it is something what other people realize with some other things. And words what we think it's like has the meaning, the sense that they are not we don't understand properly. That's our mistake.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be flipping that on its head going forward and pointing out to them that no, it's not the case that we don't understand. It's the case that, strictly speaking, the only way that could be accurate is if you state that we don't understand the nonsense you as an individual are going to make up about what the globe says, with citations from other idiots who also don't understand what the globe claims. Yeah, we don't understand that, and we don't need to.
Practically, I feel like a retard if I don't understand that level it's curved. If somebody wants to tell me level it's curved, okay, I said yeah, okay. How? And then I don't understand. I cannot reach the understanding point. Where can my brain say, okay, it has sense. We can say like, okay, great.
Okay, so just for clarity, your opener is why are they saying evidence isn't evidence, proof isn't proof, and now you're saying that they offer you up a complete contradiction in terms, that level is curved. And again, the question is, why is it that you're being called an idiot for not understanding that level and curved are synonymous? They're not.
I should to feel like that because that's the truth. Level is curved. Level is not flat.
So level isn't level. Level is deviating from level at a given rate. That's a curve.
But everybody, if you ask the child will say it's flat. But adult will say no, it's not.
Oh, look at this. The adjective, right? Flat, smooth, even, uniform, plain, flush, plump, regular, aligned, on the same level as, on a level, at the same height as. Verb, make level, level out, level off, make even off, even out, make equal, even up, make level, equalize. I don't see anything about curve here.
So what Eli's just read out is a whole load of synonyms, things that are synonymous with level. So when it says make level, it's because that's a term that would be used synonymously with the term level. Yeah, you're dealing with idiots that have found out the Earth isn't a sphere and have now figured a way of changing the meanings of words to make their definition of how the world could be a sphere make sense. And then they want to bark at us with the misapprehension that they've got the Western world behind them in their misapprehensions about what they say the globe is. Yeah. And one of those misapprehensions involves you understanding that level means curved. Because if they can bark at you that you're an idiot and you don't understand it, it makes them feel much better about accepting the contradiction that they're demanding you should understand and berating you for not understanding the contradiction that they hold.
Can I give a correction here? Level doesn't mean curved or flat. Level means horizontal, and horizontal is also flat. But something can be flat without being level.
Right.
So horizontal is the word.
Yeah, you can have a flat wall in the vertical plane.
For me, it's easy, like a human being, to understand that horizontal, and because of horizontal, we give the name horizon. We didn't give the name horizon because I don't know, because we like to name it that horizon.
Ooh,
because it
here we
has
go.
sense to call it that.
So people ask, what is the synonym of level? Some common synonyms of level are even, flat, plane, and smooth. While all these words mean having a surface without bends, curves, or irregularities, level applies to a horizontal surface that lies on a line parallel with the horizon. The vast prairies are nearly level, for example. Wow.
By contrast, if I read out some of the synonyms for curve, because they're implying level means curve, so you'd think, okay, so we'll have level somewhere in the synonyms for curve. Bend, turn, loop, wind, meander, undulate, snake, spiral, twist, coil, curl, arc, arch, bow, bulge, swell, incurve, bent. These don't include level or flat.
I think that you're reading wrong citation from Google. And everybody knows that.
We gotta go to the priest. That's right.
I mean, it goes on. None of them are including anything that in any way indicates something being level or having no relief. Like the Earth you must measure if you're navigating upon it or building on it. When you talk about Earth having a curve, it's not conducive with the reality that we actually find ourselves in. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Bottom line as in flat baseline?
Yeah, if you like.
Horizontal is something which no part's higher or lower than the other. Level.
Yo, what's with the long pauses today, guys?
I don't know, Arwen. I'm letting him ride. I don't care. It's Friday.
All right, we can have multiple moments of silence for the dearly departed globe. That's fine.
This is good, man. I'm afraid to say anything. I might get told to shut up. Yeah.
Only when I'm trying to get a concise conversation out of Virus. Now, his whole purpose is to try and cause four of you to talk all at once by triggering you with multiple different things that he throws out. Now, the moment you bite on that, it just adds to the chaos. You just happen to be the person that ends up getting in the neck because you tend to have the worst mic, and you're like now the interruption isn't audible. It's just background noise over the top of me trying to make a point. So you've opened your mic. So what instantly happens, Neil, is I just hear the background noise, not a coherent point coming through. That's why you're the one that gets shouted at.
No, I was laughing at. I didn't even know I hit it. I'm laughing at it.
Right, perfect timing for me to moan, though, eh? Especially as you're bleating about it.
So,
So,
what
guys,
I
how
couldn't
far?
understand is how many times. Okay, forget it. It's okay. I wasn't talking.
No, that was me. Sorry.
That was Arwin. Go on, Neil. In all seriousness, go on.
I was just going to say, I don't know how many times you can go over the same thing with a retard. When it has nothing to do with anything, there's no force, it's an optical illusion. I don't understand.
Yeah, but we're talking about people who want to redefine words in the middle of using them. Remember when Mr. Pilot showed up here and I read him out the citation from thoughtco.com that describes the Coriolis effect as an illusion. What was his response? Well, that depends on which the meaning of the word illusion is.
Right, he wanted to get us into the wrangle-dangle of defining what illusion was. I mean, I just put a stop to it. I'm like, I know what an illusion is. You don't need to sit around here defining what illusion means. We all know. But rather than defining what Coriolis is and how it would affect our reality if Earth's turning beneath stuff to see it seem to drift when it's not attached, then you'd rather define what illusion is, because Earth isn't exhibiting this effect.
Right. So, how far do you guys think that Akumu virus is in the DERPCON chart? And remember that every separate element, like, is an indicator of where he is. It doesn't have to have all the elements, right? That's not how it works, right?
I think virus is easily at DERPCON 5. Easily.
Yeah, he reached DERPCON 5 a long time ago.
I don't know. I think he kind of sticks around 4. I mean, he does the whole crazy spamming the same arguments, really not getting it, right? And a bit paranoia. But, like, he doesn't get, like, a typical thing about the DERPCON 5 is that it gets really dark, right? And we've seen that of some anti-flat earthers, that when you really push them, they get really dark suddenly. That's typical DERPCON 5. And I never really see Akumu virus do that. He gets really annoying, right? But not dark.
He should have been banned from the server. The moment he should have been banned from the server, the moment he said that he can change his pants and not leave the pants that he's in. That's when he should have been banned from the server.
I concur with that.
They're saying the moment he starts exhibiting ridiculous, stupid nonsense, we should just ban him.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's that on that level, he should have been banned.
But we'll have nobody left.
You got to do a lot more than that to get banned here, and I'm sure Betty would agree with me, right? That's why he's not been banned.
That's correct.
You didn't hear his expert moment about sextant.
Oh right, what was that?
Oh, that was like he knows everything about sextant, and he never ever touched sextant.
Just a note to
But they can say the same thing about us. You can't say that. Nathan never touched one.
I will always be thankful to Akumu.
In that sense, but somebody who is claiming and saying, "Oh, I know," I ask him, what do you know? What can you explain me? Which, at least some parts of the instrument that I can know. What any part is doing or blah blah blah. He doesn't know. What the fuck if you're an expert? If I'm expert in baking and I'm expert in baking, I can tell you everything about baking bread.
I guess you're right. If he claims to be an expert, he should know certain parts.
And I wanted to find out from him, okay, let's see what you know and what... No, Sasha, look there. Everything is in Almanac. You need to watch there. Okay, thank you.
Oh, great. Welcome to Flat Earth. Works with the celestial sphere.
Well, dude, it's not just one point, right? It's every point. Yesterday, 2-hour argument over how optics work. No, it's all they had to say. And then steel man, straw man, red herring. Any topic you go to, it's incessant. I mean, if we did ban them all that actually started out like that, we wouldn't have any OG Globers. They'd all be gone because they do it every day.
That's what I see as the problem. They're not OG Globers. These are people
Yes,
spouting
they're
their own nonsense, not globe nonsense. So these people, you don't understand. What is it that we don't understand according to them? It's their nonsense that they're spewing, not globe nonsense that we can easily debunk.
Globe nonsense easily debunked too.
I think we don't understand that. We don't understand that science evolves and evolution is real, and the science is never wrong because it never claims to be right. Yeah, so we don't understand science.
Again, total nonsense made up by the idiot that we've got to then argue about that position being correct when that isn't the case. Well, that's just one individual saying that science, an empirical method of establishing cause and effect, the effect being a phenomenon you observe in nature, the cause being something that you suppose and formulate into a hypothesis with a null, the outcome being empirical because it can't have both, it would violate the law of non-contradiction. So when they start saying that you should argue with them about how science doesn't prove things, at that point, it's not that you should ban them, it's just that really you shouldn't be debating with them. And if you want to take your time to correct them on their nonsense that they've got wrong, then so be it. But people fall into the trap of debating them like they've got a position to hold on behalf of the globe. They haven't. They don't understand their own nonsense, let alone what the globe claims.
But when they say that, why don't you ask them, well, years ago, when all these globers were running around telling flat earthers they're science deniers, why were you guys telling us that you have all this science that proves the globe? That's it.
Science doesn't prove anything. We all know that, or maybe we don't know that.
That's all science does. It proves things. That's the whole point.
I know. I agree. Not according to anti-flat earthers, though.
Yeah, because they've spent the whole of their existence up until about 2018 running around telling flat earthers that they were science deniers and preaching how the whole body of science proved they were on a sphere, when in reality they had absolutely no science whatsoever to back their claims of sphericity, and flat earthers over that course of time, 2015 through 2018, learned what science really was, and as a consequence found out that what they had and claimed was science wasn't science. So they have to tell us science doesn't prove things now, because they never had any. So they throw science under the bus after telling us that the whole body of science proved we're on a sphere. It doesn't.
In my opinion, if you take Accum
just like the other grass. Sorry, Sasha.
Go ahead,
if you
Sasha.
take if you take Accum virus and then you take two other globals, whatever, and then you make an argument, I can bet that three of them will have a different story. They will not agree with each other.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. I've seen the Rumpus and George Netanyahu go back and forth for several hours about Coriolis effect, with George correcting Rumpus, and then Rumpus correcting George, them both having complete misapprehensions about it.
Yeah, that's the point, because that must be constant. That must be one thing, not what. Oh, I have idea about this. Oh no, my idea is this. No, it's not idea. It's one truth.
So,
Hey,
aren't they
Nathan.
all supposed to arguing the same story? So it sounds like they all have different interpretations of the same story.
Got a
That's
hey Nathan from
unfortunate.
someone in Discord. Go ahead.
You guys are talking about OG Globers, right?
Yeah, well, the lack thereof, but yeah.
Well, you know Melby Styles, right? Right after, Will Brex, Melby Styles. This is her husband. Because here's what people don't know: you're one of the OG flat earthers, right?
I don't know if people don't know that, but go on.
Okay, here's how long I've been in the flat Earth, and dude, let me tell you something, man. We love your show. It's amazing what you've done.
Oh, thank you.
And we live in LA. We're in the entertainment business. I don't think people even realize how much hard work it takes to do what you do, and you've just become a great broadcaster, man.
I appreciate it.
All you
I
guys,
bleat about
Arwen,
how much hard work
you,
it is quite
Kent,
frequently, though. So again,
Racer, who I've talked to, like, dude, it's a really good thing you guys have, man. But I'm saying, like, here's how long I've been in the flat Earth. I remember when they used to call Jeranism. What was the guy's name? The one flat earther. He used to call him Geranarism.
oh, Red Rhetoric.
No, not Red's rhetoric. He was a flat earther. Geranarism. Something souls and quantum
Stars of
eraser was
Souls.
like, yeah. And remember the guy? Where's the curvature?
He went concave.
Where's the curvature? That's how long.
He was called
It was you.
Zip something or other.
It was you.
What was his name?
Geranarism. Stars or Souls, maybe?
Yeah, Stars of Souls
back-
was around
Yeah.
probably 6 months before me and Jaron. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Eric Dubé, Geranarism, because I always call him Geranarism now. NASA Channel, and then you, Pat Steer, Mark Sargent, of course, and that was it, dude. There was like 5 people you could go for videos, and you know what happened? Like, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're all listening along.
How about my
Oh, sorry.
perspective? He was there early.
There are others.
So you started, like, you used to just do videos. Remember, you did the Flat Earth Plumber, and Melby, my wife, she's a plumber. But, like, and then you started debate. And, dude, when people say, like, man, Nathan just yells at people, I go, dude, he earned it, because for 2 years, it was just like 8 people yelling at you. And like you by yourself, just defending yourself, right? And I say, man, if he wants to fucking yell at him, he can yell at him, because he took some serious abuse. Sorry for cursing, my bad.
Nah, that's all right.
All right, how much did you pay him to come in today, Nathan?
I didn't pay it.
Shut the fuck up,
One
Neil,
of my
you
donors. Mel B. Styles.
Neil's
said
a
hi.
great addition too. You gotta have a good New York Kenny in your crew. You know what I mean?
The husband.
Yeah,
This is
that's,
the husband. I can just explain who he is. He's the husband of somebody who supports me quite a lot. Hell of a lot, actually.
Melby Styles.
Melby Styles, right.
after Will Brex.
Hi,
Right.
Nathan.
Hello.
Will Brex, Melby Styles.
But typically, you're not that vocal, right?
No, she's not. No.
You. I'm talking specifically to you.
Oh,
I know
me,
she's
no,
not either,
never.
but I'm saying you're not normally. So somebody's just come on to give me a bit of. Someone's come on to give me a bit of admiration, and I'm very grateful.
I'll get on, like, when you're gone, like after the show, like with Steve and Die Slow and that crew, like the Discord crew. Oh, you know what I was convinced of at one point. You know who turned me into a flat earther? Frickin' Learn of the Jesuit Order.
Oh, wow. Learn of the Jesuit Order. Okay.
You know who he sounds like? He sounds like Sin Cleanser. I thought at one point Sin Cleanser is Lot Joe. If you listen to their voice, they sound like the same dude. And he said he's not, and I believe him. I love Sin Clean. Hey, Sin Clean. Yeah, dude, great. We love Arwen.
Do you remember the end of Lacho or Learn of the Jesuit Order? So can you remember?
Oh yeah, Lacho.
You do?
Oh, what's his name? Who's the Aussie? John LeBon.
Right.
Remember back in the day, it was like John LeBon, and you know who my favorite flat earther is, other than you guys, is
no mention of Jungle Surfer.
Wakey. But
Wakey,
remember,
Wakey.
it used to be Wakey and Matrix Decode, and then they had a falling out, dude. I love you guys, man. I've been listening to you guys forever.
Reminiscing about the good old days.
Reminiscing about the good old days when there was. I got one for you. My Perspective, the South African. That dude was the badass.
Yeah, he is.
Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember he had those. He's like a cinematographer or something in South Africa, and he used to do the best videos. And then I used to love what's his name, Matt. You know, I don't get into all the drama. I don't hate anybody. I don't give a shit
Matt
crap.
Boyland.
But you know what I mean. But I used to love him, and then he just went off the deep end and just like started playing guitar for 7 hours a night or something. And I was like, all right, whatever, dude. But yeah, and Quantum Eraser, he used to do I discovered him used to do these things with cathexis. And man, he's a smart dude. The thing you guys put together though. Oh, here's what I was gonna say. It was I stopped listening to you because it was just people yelling at you and you just like fighting, you and the couple of flat earthers that would go in there. And then I'm listening to Globe Busters one day, and Sleeping Warrior came on, and he goes, "Man, you got to come over to Flat Earth Debate and blah blah blah." He goes, "We got these. We figured out through fallacies how to through logic how to beat the fricking, you know, why is there no gas pressure without a container?" And then so I went over. This is 2-3 years after you started. So I finally went back and I go, all right, let me listen to it. So I went and listened to it, and you were beating the crap out of them. You know what I mean? Because you figured out only with logic and dismantling their fallacies and just taking them to school, and it was awesome. It was like awesome. Because remember, it was like Red's Rhetoric and all those weirdos, like,
Ethan,
you
when
know, and you still got them hang.
you
Like when you listen to
you
Virus,
hear me,
what do you
sir?
call them now?
We can hear you, Eli.
So, I like
Yeah.
Eli too. He's smart. He's a smart son of a gun.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I was just gonna say that I think we take learning for granted. So a lot of us realize that the Earth was flat. That's easy. You know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
realized there was a lie going on, but what we didn't know, there's a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of logic, and a little bit of other things, like the way to think correctly and how we were getting duped. And so a lot of flat earthers learned that the Earth wasn't a globe, but then they maybe continue to still think in the same ways that got them there in the first place. And it took a long time of me listening to Nathan for it to like kind of be ingrained in me, and understanding that, okay, what's actually going on? Why is this miscommunication or misunderstanding happening oftentimes? And like you said, it's
100%.
because we figured out, it's bad logic. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's not even about I've learned more about logic than the flat Earth, and once you learn logic, the flat Earth becomes obvious. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, Nathan and you and Quantum Racer, all you guys, man, you have made me a smarter man, and that's from the bottom of my heart, man, for real. It's hard. It makes it hard when you argue with like a normal person because they just think you're weird or something because they're so like they just don't know. You know, they're like, you know, oh, ad hominem. And you can't yell at them with like Nathan because you don't have a British accent. When you have an American accent, you just sound like a fucking, an asshole. Sorry, I keep cursing.
It's okay.
But sorry, Neil. Neil's hilarious. Because I'm Irish. My mom's from the Bronx, so I love a good frickin' foul-mouthed guinea.
Which Neil isn't.
Yeah. Reminds me of my family. But yeah, man, I just wanted to jump on and say because usually you take off like by now. But man, just what a great show. I'm telling you.
Well, thank you very much.
You guys, what a
Much
great
love
show,
to the panel.
dude. I'm telling you,
Couldn't
I
do
know how
without them.
hard you work, man. I know how hard you work. People don't realize. Oh, you know what pisses me off is like, the globe believers or what, the anti-flat earthers. Oh, you're just trying to get money and blah. Like, dude, you know how much work you put into that to get the sound right and to produce a show every day? I mean, dude, it's an accomplishment, man. Really, really, I know how hard it is, man. I'm in Hollywood. We live in Hollywood. Her dad was a well-known Hollywood producer. We know the business, and it's a full-time You know, it ain't 9 to 5. It's 9 to 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling having somebody say it. It's one of those things you think about in the shower in the morning at 6 a.m. when you've already gone through your emails and looked at the messages and checked your stats, essentially done your self-reporting. Then you get on with a bit of breakfast and then move on to whatever it is you're going to do for the rest of the day. It's a 24/7 thing. It's not like people think, you just do a couple of hours doing your video, maybe 3 if they know you do the after show. It's like, nah, it's all day, every day, and you've got to make gaps to do things with the kids, the lessons and things. But yeah, most people do 9 to 5, and that's full time. Running a YouTube channel for anybody, doesn't matter how successful it is, it's a full-time job. And in some ways, I do have a slight bit of resentment to the anti-flat earthers, who I know do a damn sight less and pull in a lot more money. But by the same token, you think, well, more power to them. It's jealousy. Don't get jealous. Just work harder, and what will be, will be. But like you say, I work 24/7.
But without them, there's no show. You know, that's the show. Because the show, it's the listeners. Because I've listened to it. You know, after a while, you know it. But hearing them is what educates you. Because they really have nothing. They have nothing. I'm telling you, I've learned more about science and logic just from listening to this show. And I love Globe Busters, and I love Pat Steer. Like everybody, the things each one of them do specifically adds to it, and they have their own. Like Patricia Steer, she was a great broadcaster, man. She had that radio voice, and she would interview like every person in the flat Earth, and you needed that. And then Mark Sargent does his thing, and Juranerism, you know what I mean? Everybody has their thing, and you take a piece out. But you guys are the elite of the elite. You know what I mean? I mean, dude, I felt bad when you were taking it to Bob on Globe Busters. You're just like, nope, Bob, sorry, we're best friends, but you're wrong. And I was like, man, that's hard to do. That's not easy, bro. But you did it, and I think he respects you, and you respect him. Plus, I love how you can yell at people and then completely go back to like, okay, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I just realized who you were talking about when you were saying Juranerism. I thought that was like a second person. Are you talking about Jaren?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, I do appreciate it.
I like Jaren.
We don't all love Bob.
Can I add something, Nathan? I need 3-4 minutes.
So don't blow any more smoke at my ass if that's what you're intending. I'll explode.
No, I'm intending to give more compliments. I will repeat all that story what Guy repeated, because I started the same. I was watching Jaron and mostly him and all others, even Matt Powell and all others, doesn't matter. Even I was watching from other angle. Like these people had some between them, and I thought, what the fuck you are doing? But that became like a story, like a big brother in one moment, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. But the point was, in one moment, somebody, Jaron, because I was watching, Jaron was presenting so much videos, blah blah blah. Even Bob Nodell, doesn't matter. I don't want to say that. In one moment, somebody said, "Go to the Nathan. Go to the Nathan if you want to prove the world. Go to the Nathan Oakley." And I said, "Who the fuck is Nathan Oakley now?" And okay, let's go to the Nathan Oakley. And I see there is debating, nothing, no videos. I need to listen here. Okay, great. My English is not so good, but I will listen. And then I started to listen, Nate, you and in the first moment, QE was there also inside. And yeah, I'm here from the beginning. And what I can say, keep going. And you have people. I'm here. I will support you in any case what I can, because this is like, for me, going to cinema, I choose my cinema. This cinema, it's also really real, and it's called Nathan Oakley, and it's called Quantum Eraser, and they've Nathan Oakley swearing, yeah, all that things what guy said, but Nathan Oakley said like Nathan, you're here, but doesn't matter. I want to say, you explain it like at least I know 10 times why you swear I will say it every time. Nathan never swear on the person. I said, you are a fucking idiot, you are a motherfucker, you are lick my balls because of person. He said that every fucking time, only because of argument and nothing else. And that for me was important. And then he said that to Bob Knodel only because of argument. And argument was the first point every time. And every time I'm listening to you, I know that many flat earthers don't like you because you're swearing. You are in many moments you are. But I heard like 2,000 shows, and I know from the beginning how you was attacked and blah blah. Maybe you need maybe to not swear so much, but on the end, I like it all that swearing what you did on the end because
you know what?
Yeah,
you know what, Sasha? People that don't like the swearing. I think they rarely speak up. The people that don't like Nathan is the people that want to continue to beg the question in other ways, even though they're flat earthers, right? How many people? I'm from this school, so I'll let everyone know. Yes, Nathan Oakley and the people on his panel have educated me or given me the tools to educate myself. So Sasha, when you met me in 24/7 and you saw how my argumentation was, now Grovers never, ever want to ask, how do you know it's flat? And I'm always goading them, right? And they never take a bite. For the 2 years you've been hearing me. Now on top of that, don't flat earthers get tired of me trying to stick to the same point everywhere you hear me? Oh, it's getting boring. Well, I'm not going to let them beg the question, Sam. What else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
There's no conversation
in
to be
that case,
had
Elijah,
if they're just going to go past the point that is in contention. But go ahead. Sorry.
In that case, for you, what you did in 24/7, oh my God, that means Elijah did something different. Elijah did it on so good way. I cannot explain how much effort, how much time, how much explaining to reach the point that person only asked this question. But why you think it's Earth is flat? And then you will explain why you think. Then you will show, no, Elijah didn't come to the point that person asked that question. Never. And that was the question what is coming from everybody's mouth. It was like Elijah is coming with a plate, and you need to only turn around the paper and question is there.
Yeah, so you're saying like this, they don't have a problem asking anyone else why it's flat, but they never want to ask me why it's flat. They know where I'm going.
There was one thing I wanted to add as I've had a lot of smoke blown up my ass. Thank you very much, everyone, complimenting me. I really do appreciate it. It makes it all worthwhile. And I mean that in the most sincere way. And by that, what I mean is that while I'm talking about contemplating, oh, it'd be great if I earned more money, doesn't everybody think that if they're at work, everybody wants to get promoted? That's standard. So if you put that to one side, what am I not thinking about? What am I not concerned about? I'm not thinking about how, oh no, I might have an argument to deal with for the Earth being a sphere. I might not be convinced of how the Earth's obviously and observably flat. I mean, I am thinking about my electric bill, but I'm just talking about mundane things that I generally think about. So then I contemplate it versus the Simon Dan example that I gave earlier. So I'm like, oh, he hardly does any work and he earns loads more. Well, that's just jealousy. So you've got to set that aside and go, what are the other comparisons? Because that scale doesn't just have money on it. What would be the concerns of Simon Dan? Yeah, he might not have any financial concerns, or less than I have, but he does worry about what the nature of Earth is going to be, because he's going to figure out how he's going to deny it to his audience. For example, you and your reference frames are ruined. It's just such a concise argument to use as in that example. So I'm going to. That means he's got to figure out mentally, cognitively, how he's going to show Earth has no Coriolis effect. Well, that's quite, taxing cognitively, and a concern that needs a square circling. And that isn't something that we here really concern ourselves with. Yes, we're all reactive in our own way to claims that come our way, but I'm in no doubt whatsoever that very few of us, maybe Neil, wake up and go, oh no, what if it's not flat? We're not really concerning ourselves with these things because we don't need to concern ourselves with them because of the process that we've gone through. And then I asked myself, what would I rather have? More money? Just the money, not the support that gets me the money I do have, because my money's got a lot more value attached to it than just the money, just the dollar value. I'll come to that in a minute. But would I rather have the money and the stress and concern about my paradigm, the very nature of my world not maybe being what I think it is, and that needing a few squares circling, that I wouldn't be able to cope with. That's what I'm a flat earther, so I don't have to worry about that crap. I just appreciate the world that I'm in. And the support that the less, admittedly, money that I do sustain myself with comes from people who are like Sasha, or like Mel B. Styles' husband, and Mel B. Styles, who by extension are technically the same, they're married, but you know what I'm getting at. The people who are uber supportive, they're the ones that are actually sustaining me both in their kind words, watching the show, and giving me the money to pay what I can of my electric bill. So you go, well, that is fantastic. That makes me want to get up and smile in the morning, as opposed to get up with a bit more money, but be stressed about the very nature of my world I'm living in. I know which one I'd pick, and I've obviously picked it. But yeah, the endless hours and hours of work that are there to sustain a YouTube channel. There's probably tens of thousands of people who have got 20 to 30,000 subs that are going, God, if only I had 100,000, I'd be able to make a decent living. But bet none of them have got the literally loads, dozens of people that will go into their back pocket and give me money regularly to support me, knowing full well that that is what keeps the show going. That is because they appreciate it in such a manner that they'll come on and blow smoke up my ass for half an hour because they're that grateful for what we're doing here. And I say we, because it's mostly down to the fact that I've got an exceptional panel who have got the time. I generally sarcastically put this down to me being lazy. It's not. It's lack of time because I'm running a YouTube channel. So I rely on, and I wouldn't have a good show if it wasn't the case, Brian, Neil, Eli, maybe a little bit of Arwen, definitely Adam. You know, I rely on these people to actually go out and do the research. I mean, 10th Man occasionally does a few presentations, but, you know, it's probably not even worth mentioning. But you know what I'm getting at? We need these people here. So I'm grateful to them and the support I get, and it comes to me by name. I want to extend back out to my panel, because if it wasn't for them, I know you're like, you deserve to yell at them. You've built up that from being yelled at by 10 people on your panel, kicking you out and playing pornography. Yeah, that is true. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't be as learned as I was if it wasn't for these guys that you can see on screen. I assure you, I'd be sat here in silence all day if it wasn't for them. But I still appreciate the sentiment, and I'm not saying I don't. You know, I'm not rejecting your thanks and all the rest of it. I really appreciate it.
What do you mean a little bit of Arwen?
I mean, that's the reaction I was fishing for.
Yeah.
When they are speaking, when people speaking with you, they are saying, Nathan, you said this, but you have other 10 people behind thinking the same thing. They will say something like, Nathan, you are wrong with this. Come on, you cannot say this, you know. But nobody's saying that because everybody's thinking the same like you. That means it's not Nathan, it's also Adam, it's Arvin, it's me, it's everybody else.
Hey Nathan, this is awesome that Mel B's husband started this.
Guys, so.
Hello again.
Hey, Nathan, can I say one more thing? But because I'm telling you, you have an awesome panel, man. It's Arwen. We go watch Arwen's Early Bird. Dude, he's hilarious. It's you guys are like the Howard Stern of the flat Earth movement.
Thank you, and I'm glad you've extended it out to my panel.
Okay, let me
Mel B.
ask
Styles'
you,
husband.
who's Nathan's favorite?
Arwen.
Here's the funniest thing.
Arwen's my favorite.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I know.
Chocolate is the best flavor, though.
He'd be like, Nathan will come on. He'll be like,
chocolate all day long.
Hey, Tenth.
No, not
Hey,
chocolate.
Arwen.
If you've seen chocolate,
and
he's got too much to be envious of. No,
hey,
not chocolate.
He loves chocolate. Chocolate's a favorite. Chocolate's the best, man. Chocolate's the frickin' man. And he's a good ass rapper too. That's all I'm
Adam's
gonna say.
far too intelligent.
We love you guys.
Feels threatening.
Hey,
thank you, brother.
chocolate.
I appreciate that.
Oh, funny.
Hey, while we're going down memory lane, whatever happened to Slick?
He got banned for being abusive to certain female members of Discord. He's one person that actually got banned from the server. Like, actually banned.
Yeah. That's old school right there.
Sucks. He was a good man. He was a good thinking.
No, he wasn't.
Good thinking man.
No, but he wasn't.
I don't like when people take. I don't like when people take the time out to be negative. When someone is taking the time out to be positive, wait your turn. Mind your business. If you want to be negative on your own accord. Minutes away from my positivity. So, like I said, I like Slick James Johnson. And he's actually the reason I joined the show, because I thought he was being misunderstood. Unfortunately, he was banned before we really had any back and forth. So it happened about
You know,
the
the last time Eli, the last time he was on was when Ranty kicked him. And I was waiting for Monday to see what his response would be, and he never came back on.
Yeah, his monsters come out, let's just say. So his persona on the show was fantastic. He was a great guest. But then behind the scenes, he started behaving like some sort of pimp and being in such a derogatory way to the certain women that he talked to that it was like, when someone showed it me, I was like, Jesus, is this the same person? I couldn't quite believe it, but there we go. People shock us
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's why I lost a lot of respect for him for that.
Right.
I didn't see all that.
He had interesting philosophies.
It was some real shit, but it wasn't like we just kicked him out just because we wasn't feeling him. He did some shit. Like.
All right. Well, another honorable mention is Evan Kim. I liked him as well. I spent time on both of Slick and Kim's channels just to get, more. All I wanted to do was consume flat Earth information and people who knew the Earth was flat and what they thought. And I thought that their videos were interesting. That's all.
Well, Slick was a good guest, and it doesn't undermine anything that Slick did on the show. Because, I was defending him right up until somebody showed me how he was behaving off camera, so to speak. And at that point, once you've been shown that, you can't really... It seems like you're encouraging that behaviour if you go, well, let's just ignore that. Well, you can't really, but it didn't undermine anything he did on the show. So if you're like, no, I watched Slick, I thought he was good. Well, yeah, so did I. And everybody, it doesn't undermine anything he did on the show.
Ted's man took it to the cleaners and straightened them out that one show. What is, I don't have any beliefs? Come on. Ted's man did a job on him on that show.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it doesn't mean his logic wasn't
Yeah,
flawed.
but at the same time, because I'll have that same argument with Ted right now if you'd like. Because the thing is, Slick James was trying to communicate something. He didn't. I don't believe that he meant I have zero beliefs. I know he said that, but when he detailed why he thought that way and what he was actually saying, I agreed with him, because every time he said, I don't have beliefs, it's because why? And this was his way of coping with the Globers putting onto us beliefs that we don't hold. I didn't know how to deal with that. He was somebody that chose to deal with it by saying, I don't have beliefs, stop asking me.
I liked him, too. Don't get me wrong. I liked him.
Me too. But with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a member, smashing the thanks button and PayPal link and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!